Welcome to So You're Kinda a Big Deal, a weekly podcast deep diving into the lives of emerging and established tattoo artists. Listen in as we dig into origin stories, industry hot topics, and what it takes to survive in the world of tattooing. This is Tattoo Shop Talk. Join your hosts Shawn, Hedley, and Dave Allen every week as we host a new guest.
We'll keep it a little briefer.
Yeah. Did you train this morning?
Yeah, I did 14K.
Gross.
Paddle to we call it the pastry paddle. So we paddle 7K to this bakery on the other side of the lake. It's cool. It's this huge vineyard. They got a big lawn. Just put the boats on the lawn, then walk in, get coffee and cake and.
So that's where the picture was from.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Looks fun. So I think today is going to be one of our last days. Apparently, we're supposed to be getting snow come Monday.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. So, just a quick sorry to everybody. We didn't have a new episode, but we were busy in Calgary, recording a whole ton of shit. So first and foremost, a huge shout out to Steve Peace and the convention that he put on, giving us some private space for us to be able to record.
It was amazing. Great convention.
Dude.
700 artists.
Yeah. And they're all fucking busy.
Yeah.
It was so hard to find people to fucking to actually interview because everybody was so fucking busy. Met some cool tattooers. Really wanted to get Lip Right on. We'll catch up with him at another convention. That kid Bowden I was telling you before about, he was making those homemade scroll paintings and shit. Yep. He's from a shop in Calgary. I can't think of the name of it at the moment right now, but really cool stuff. There was just so much cool shit. Like so many good tattooers, young and old. And everybody was just fucking busy. It
was crazy.
Yeah.
Eddie Deutsch was there. Like
Jack Rudy.
First time I ever met Eddie Deutsch or Jack Rudy for that matter.
Yeah. No, so it's crazy. Finally got to meet Henning, meeting Trevor McStay.
Yeah.
Kind of awkward, like how much he just kept going on and on about how much he loved my face tattoos. It's getting really weird.
I think he's got it. He's got it for you. He loves it.
Yeah. Just like, I get it. You like my face tattoos. All right, let's move on.
I'm surprised he wasn't touching your face. I thought he was going
to. So, and then we got to record at, we recorded first day at Stronghold Tattoo. So huge shout out. Thanks to Ryan Gagne and his crew there for giving us space. And then,
did he catch up to you at the convention?
No.
Oh, he caught up to me.
Oh, really?
He ran right up on me and ball slapped me.
No, because I didn't go Friday, and then he was at a wedding on Saturday. So then, and I wasn't there Sunday. So
he was there Saturday. He showed up.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, that's when he got me. I wasn't there Sunday.
Oh shit! Oh yeah, no, I missed him because I left just a little bit before you. So yeah, hilarious. And then recording at Deadly. That was awesome. Hanging out with Deadly Tattoos, and first time having an audience while we record episodes was pretty fun.
Homestead, Kevin's place.
Homestead, what a great little space, man. You got it. Yeah, actually, no, that place sucks, Kevin. You should close it and move to Edmonton and work at Champion.
I had serious studio envy after this trip. After going by Burrow and Homestead.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking at spaces for lease and Kelowna.
Yeah, Stevie's built something really cool there, man. And then having Craig Fenner, Paint by Number, Jay Breen, now of course Stace, Water Street Phantom in there, man. What those guys going to be, and what they're going to be probably putting out by spring, because they're all just going to be just pushing each other so much, So yeah, pretty exciting shit, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
So yeah, and then the reason why we even went down early was the 200 hours documentary.
Totally. Yeah, that was right.
Yeah, that was fun, man. Different than what I was expecting. It wasn't what I was expecting as a documentary, but it was good, and it was
absolutely
really cool.
Yeah, and what a good crowd too. Like it was like every time you turn around, it was like holy fuck. Like I was not expecting that, but makes sense.
Yeah. And it was busy. It was great. I'm glad I got to be a part of that. It was cool because it's a one-time thing. So yeah, right on. Cool. Yeah, man. And you got tattooed.
Yeah. I haven't been tattooed at a convention in forever, man. It was great. It was good. Oh, it sucked, but it was good. Yeah, BJ
Yeah.
Betts. Yeah, he's a great tattooer. Gives you good tattoo. Gives good
Yeah.
tattoo.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome, man. And yeah, so we're gonna definitely have to talk about like conventions for next year and what we want to do and kind of
Yeah, shit.
gear up for that shit. So
Everybody should tell us what conventions they'd like to see us at.
yeah,
Maybe we can make the podcast a little bit more interactive at the conventions too, like
that'd
host
be
a
kind of
night
cool.
thing or
Yeah, do like a night thing, either at a bar or in like a seminar room or something like that, and have an audience. And especially if it's a tattooer that a lot of people don't really have access to.
yeah.
We could do like a an FAQ, and because we don't always have the best questions, right?
Okay.
Or we have the best questions that we have for us because it's something I want to know, right? But we could always delve into some technical stuff if it's tattooers and whatnot, and that'd be kind of cool. That'd be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome, man.
I can't wait for people to talk about these episodes because we got some fucking good ones.
Oh my god, we have like 8+ hours we recorded.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So fucking, we'll drop this convention one first this coming Sunday, and then we'll just slow roll the rest out, and then we have one to record next week, and then we have another couple weeks off, and then so I can use that time to edit these episodes, and then right back to it, man. Then it's end of November. It's just like bang, 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 right into December. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be. We should figure out if we're gonna have a break over Christmas or not.
oh, absolutely, I think so.
Let's try to get some extra fucking interviews in the can.
Yeah, right. So, besides this one, we have 4, right? So we have, so the Wednesday, 2 on Thursday, 1 on Friday. And then, so that's a month. That's going to take us all through November.
Yeah.
We're recording one next week, and then we're recording 3 in November. That'll take us through, December. And so, get a few more.
We've got all those shorter ones we did at the convention too. That's a whole.
That's what's going to come out on this Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that'll come out on this Sunday, right? And then but then those 4 will carry us through November, and then we have I'm not going to say any names yet. Just like keep it for a surprise. But who we have next week is great. We've unfortunately missed recording twice with him, so it's going to be really good to finally get this one in the can for sure, and get that up. And then then we have some great ones back to back through November, and then I have a couple people that want me to reach out and get back to them because they're just like traveling right now. So we definitely have some great ones. We've done great ones. We got more great ones coming. I'm stoked.
Yeah, it's awesome. This is fun, man.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for some of our guests because they don't just get like one eager beaver; they get the 2 of us. Like,
just cornering people at the convention. Hey, you should be on our show. Hey, hey, you want to be on our show? We have a podcast. You want to talk on our podcast? We'll record on your schedule. It doesn't have to be our schedule.
Oh fuck! Amazing,
awesome. But it was great to see you and great to hang out with you.
Yeah, dude.
Great of course, great to be doing this with you. But it was just great to be there and doing something else other than just seeing each other while recording. It was cool just to walk around and have laughs. Dude, punch Ryan Gagne in the dick
twice.
In a row. Yeah. I thought piercers like being punched in the dick, though.
I thought they had more hardware down there, but I was just doing a metal check.
Yeah.
Fuck, I was so jazzed about that convention. I came home, I've already drawn a painting up. So I've got a painting ready to go.
I've been working on a painting all morning.
Nice. And I've got, I figured out the idea for my cube. I went and bought 2 cubes. And
nice. Yeah, I got to start my cube. I figured it out, but because it's the one that I'm doing, I told you about the idea. I can't just freehand it on there. I got to make stencils because unfortunately I'm an idiot and decided that the 6 sides should be a mirror of each other, but in different colors. So I'm like, what the fuck,
dude? I bought 2 cubes, and one is just in case I fuck the first one up.
I got 2 also, but mine's also large.
Yeah, yours is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so
Conceptual art.
like I don't know what I was thinking, but
Yeah.
we'll see if I can finish it. So, yeah, November 10th. Those are all due. Anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, go to Deadly Tattoo. James Tex is doing and hosting a show called the Deadly Block Party, and anybody. It's not by invite. The invite is anybody can paint a cube
Yep.
of any size.
Wow.
Of any like
We'll get through the
nobody's gonna do a 4x4 cube. Who the fuck's gonna mail a 4x4 cube? Because you have to get it to Calgary to James, Texas, Deadly Tattoos, where the show is going to be. I believe he said November 18th. So the Deadly Block Party, everybody's invited to submit art. He just posted a thing today with kind of like the requirements of what he wants you to submit with it. So make sure you check that out. And they're already posting some stuff that people are doing, and people I've never heard of. I'm like, who's that? Follow. Who's that? Oh fuck, so much good stuff. I shouldn't have looked. I should have just done mine first and then sent it, because conceptually I have a good idea. Artistically I suck. So at least conceptually.
I think Alderson. Ty Alderson.
Yeah.
Fuck that. I mean, they really played with the filter, so you couldn't get a good look at it, but it looks fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, you just go to the original person's page, and they all have theirs posted, right?
I don't want to feel bad about myself.
No. I'm just like, fuck, what am I thinking? But anyways, super fun. And then also a shout out to Francisco.
Yeah.
4th Street Tattoo. Sorry I didn't make it by the shop. But he hosted an art show, Namakubi, that a lot of people took part in, and for some reason he invited me to do it, and I actually got a painting to him.
I like your painting. I went by. It's not. Look good.
And I told him to hang it really high.
Well, he did, but he's really short. So.
Oh shit! But yeah, 4th Street Tattoo. So anybody in the Calgary area, drop them a DM and see when they're going to be around. It's more of a private studio, so drop them a DM if you want to go see the art show, because there's a lot of talent up there. I've seen videos and I was like, God damn! Like,
yeah, there's some nice stuff.
Yeah. So thanks, Francisco, for inviting me and Dave into that. That's super cool of you.
I went by and told me he could keep my painting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to ship that back, and it was really, studio could use some art. So.
Yeah. I'm not that nice. I'll make Kevin go and pick it up. He's the one that dropped it off for me. Kevin, can you go pick up my art? No, my friend Fitu is opening a studio at the end of the month, and I actually want to gift it to him.
Oh, so, nice.
Yeah. So
sweet.
Cool. Yeah, man. Awesome. Super cool. A lot of exciting things coming up. These super fun interviews that we did, I thought were hilarious, especially having us both in person. I can't wait to do more of those.
Yeah.
That's it. For anybody that's like liking this shit, like, comment, tell us who you want to hear us talk to, because we have a list. We have a list of people who interest us. Not all of them are going to be interesting to you. So if you want to hear us interview people, shoot their on our posts, comment who they actually are. Don't just comment like, oh, you should interview these people or that people or this person. No, like, actually give us names.
Yeah, totally.
Like, give us names. And then, and if you like our shit, make sure you're going to all the different platforms and supporting us, like, give us a like on Spotify, give us some like or subscribe on YouTube and
Apple. Tell your friends,
like, yeah. So, it'd be great just to get, some more traction. And thanks, huge shout out to, of course, Lucas, Rob Job, Nat, everybody at Good Guy Supply, of course, for having us, hang out in their booth on the weekend and stuff, but also the continued support of the podcast.
Absolutely.
The whole Fast Social Club.com. Go check it out. Go sign up.
Yeah, sign up. It's free.
Yeah. Sign up. Goddamn free. Goddamn free.
New stuff coming.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Anything else you want to add, bud?
No, this is the best thing I've done in a long time with tattooing. This is great. I just want to keep it going. So
yeah, it's super fun. Like, super fun. It's been fun going to conventions and stuff, but like, this one was like, really energizing for me. So it was
Same.
really cool. You know, it's just, I think it was just a lot of different people, different styles of work being all busy at the same time. So I just think that just made for a really like electric atmosphere. And Steve Peace, man, good fucking job, buddy.
Good job, Steve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good job. So
We'll work on something for next year.
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll figure out some ideas and, you know, some good travel equipment and stuff like that. And I like the idea of doing a bit more of an interactive show. I think that would be super fun.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, cool,
Poor
awesome, buddy.
guest. I'll
What's
talk
that?
to you soon. I was gonna say the poor guests have to talk in front of a room full of people, but
yeah. Well,
we'll put a
that's
screen
okay.
up.
Yeah, they have us to make them. They're already uncomfortable with us, so they'll forget there's a crowd there right away. So
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome, buddy. Okay, I love you. Talk soon.
Yeah, you bet. Love you, bud. Cheers.
Bye. It's no secret Dave and I have a good guy connection, but we have a great relationship with many respected suppliers. Working with Lucas Ford at Classic Tattoo, I saw firsthand the blood, sweat, and stress he went through building Good Guy. Creating products for your peers is no easy task. With many to critique any small missteps, including myself, tattooer owned and family operated since day one. With Lucas, Rob, and Natalie at the helm, you know exactly what you are getting. High quality products, fair prices, and excellent customer service. Shop, support, Good Guy.
The interaction with the person and like being amongst it, but it's just like fucking sick of being in pain.
It's horrible.
It
Yeah.
is, but it makes you a stronger person.
Yeah.
Like I think of when we were younger getting tattooed, how it was like such a formative experience of becoming like a man or an adult or whatever.
Yeah.
That you suffered through this stuff and you got through it and you're like, yeah, I feel better about myself. And
I think one of my hardest experiences was getting tabori. And
really?
yeah.
Who was it?
My buddy in Japan, he's Oka Ratskill.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was like 4.5 hours. And I remember like an hour and a half in, I was like, fuck man, like, you know, do we have much more to go? And he's like, yeah, I look over and he's like, you know, done like this much. And it was actually a really good experience because it was fucking horrible. But I also remember being like, well, I'm here. I can't, it's not like I can be like, you're a mate, like I'll tap out, you know.
Yeah.
And so I had to suck it up. And it kind of, as much as I still hate getting tattooed, it did make me kind of realize that it is possible to push through.
Yes.
You know, and like it's sometimes harder, I think, when I like, because more often than not these days I'm getting tattooed by friends, and it's kind of like, yeah, I'm done.
Oh,
and like,
okay.
yeah. Like Stace is too nice to me. Like it destroys me every time. But like he's such a lovely person that he's just like, no man, cool, let's go grab a beer or something. And I'm just like, yeah, that sounds much better.
That sounds so much
I'm like, yeah, that like
Is taste painful?
yes.
yeah, Burrito
like-
said the same thing. He's
Yeah.
getting his back now.
And like I always feel bad when like, you know, people.
Some people just hurt.
Yeah, and like I feel bad because I know like a few people who've been tattooed by him and share that kind of like, fuck man, he rips. But I'm always terrified that like if Stace would hear me say that he's like, it's like a diss. But I'm like, it's worth it, but it fucking hurts.
Yeah, some people just hurt, and it's not like it's not heavy being like. I don't even equate that to being like heavy-handed. It's just the way some people work. Of course, heavy-handed people
That there is a thing,
but I mean like I a lot of tattooing by Bill Baker, and not one of it, and none of it is scarred.
Yeah,
None of it's need touch-ups. Some of the most horrific fucking tattooing I have.
I
on my
bet.
body. So painful. And then Dave C.
yeah,
Super gentle.
The most gentlest fucking touch I've ever had.
Rob Noseworthy.
yeah. He's light-handed.
Super light-handed.
Yeah.
What's
right?
funny is, as a tattooer getting tattooed, you know what's fucking going on. Like, you know how the machine's running, and then you start thinking about their hand movement, and then like, why are they doing that? You know, it's like
Sometimes I honestly just wonder. I'm like, what are you doing that's making it hurt so much?
Well,
I'm like, how are you doing that?
I figure it
you
out
figured it
because
out?
I'm inside. I'm like internalizing. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck are you doing that for?
I
Like,
always said that Bill and Steve Moore, I always felt that their needles were sharper than any other needles that ever touched.
They just like they take them out.
But we're all
polish
using
them, and
we're all using the same fucking needles,
Yeah.
right?
But again, Steve, just like Bill, shit's solid, heals really well. It's not like he's causing trauma.
No, exactly.
One of my easiest pieces ever was from grime. And like,
Really?
yeah, inside of the arm, it did get wildly infected. I went to a shitty hotel and cleaned it with fucking
Keep that up.
with a bar of hotel soap.
That is so fucking.
It was dope. Like it was a great experience. It was my first time in North America, and we were in.
You're gonna see that in the back.
Next week. Hey, so let's just slightly redraw it, 10%. That's cool.
It's not stealing.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But no, like we were in San Francisco, and at the time I just kind of wanted to grab a copy of Grimes' book, and it was probably long out of print by that point.
Is that the first one?
It was I Am Will at that point, yeah. And or it might have been at the point they already had the first Fingerwave book out. Anyway, I was like, I tried and I messaged them months before to see if I could get in with them. Didn't hear anything, and so I was like, fuck it, I'll just roll in. And everyone there was so lovely. Like, I mean, I was in there for about like an hour just shooting the shit. It was Henry Lewis was there.
Was it so? This was at what he was at Seven Sword. Oh, Skull and Sword.
Yeah, and then Lango was there, and Utaro, and Grime wasn't there at the time. But they were so lovely, just like let me like wander around, chat with them, shoot the shit.
Cool.
And then Grime rolled in, and I was like, oh, hey man, like, what do you got on today? He's like, I was tattooing a friend, but he's cancelled. And I was like, can I be a cunt and get asked to get tattooed? And it was funny because he latched onto that, and he's like, oh, fucking punished cunt. And I was like, and he was referencing this Australian TV show that I haven't seen where that's like a catchphrase. And I was like, yeah, man, whatever. Like, I'm like just trying to go along with it because I'm like, he's gonna tattoo me, okay? Like, yeah, man, punish cunt.
You're the funniest guy in the world,
exactly.
right now.
Yeah, I was like, sure. And then so he like just kind of drew it up, and and it was just the easiest tattoo I've ever had, and I think part of it was just that I was like almost euphoric that this kind of like this situation had panned out the way that it had, because I was just I'd resigned myself to the fact that it's not going to happen, whatever, and then. Just this complete.
You had no time to build up any thoughts about getting tattooed.
I mean, to be fair, he did like I had to go grab some food for like an hour or so while he drew it, and I had enough time to have a mini meltdown then.
Yeah.
But as soon as I kind of got there and started getting tattooed, it was funny because like the other under the arm, fucking horrible. But this one was just so easy, and I think so much of it was just that like the experience, and he was good dude to chat to. Like I definitely realized pretty early on that I shouldn't ask tattoo questions. I think he's kind of like, he's just like, no, that's, you're not here for that. Like I'm not, unless, I suppose once you have that rapport, you're getting more tattooed. But I think also I was at a point in my career where I was kind of like, I feel like I wasn't ready to ask someone like Grime these questions, like where I didn't feel like I'd earned that. And I kind of asked him a couple of questions, and then he was kind of like, yeah, whatever. And I was like, let's just shoot the shit. I kind of just move on, because I was like, he's not here to be my mentor. He's just here to do a sweet tat. And
cool.
It's funny, I had a similar thing with Trevor McStay when I first left my apprenticeship. I went into Dynamic asking for a job, and it was kind of weird. Like Trevor was tattooing, and I asked the guys at the front, like, hey, can I maybe chat with Trev sometime? And they're like, yeah, he said, come back right now. And so I'm holding my big, like, A3 folio, which is, like, a pretty big one. And he's still tattooing, and he's like, yeah, well, show us what you got. And so I'm, like, standing here trying to, like, open the pages, like, do, like, a slideshow. And then he was just like, yeah, man, stuff that I haven't seen before. He was real blunt, and I was so bummed out. But then, like, years later, I was like, what the fuck was I doing in there asking Trevor McStay for a job after I've just left my apprenticeship? Like,
but he also gave you something better.
Yeah.
He probably directed your career. It's like, oh, you want to see something original? I'll fucking sit down.
100%. It was one of those things where, again, like at the time, you're kind of like, oh, I'm bummed out. But then it's just like that point of someone being like, you're like, yeah, like I need to do better. I want to be at that level. So it's like, it's kind of good that like someone like knocked you down a peg, because when you're, especially when you get fresh out of your apprenticeship, you think you're like, fuck, I'm killing and I'm going to take over the world. But
I think it's so important to gauge
I think when you come out of your apprenticeship, gauge your ability and what
Oh.
people think of you, really, right? Because
Yeah.
you really don't have any clue. You've been coddled,
Yeah.
basically up to that point. I remember going to TCB. I was pretty fresh out of my apprenticeship, asking Scott McEwen and Andreas Merrill for a job, and they just flat out laughed. They didn't even look at my work. They were just like, they're like,
Because they knew who you were.
yeah, and they're like, you're not going to work here, you know.
Yeah, and
I've been riding on Sacred Heart's name, you know, like I was thinking that would be my in, and they were like, no, it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have enough experience. Like,
I think
you
that
can't
can,
handle it.
I think that can be like a certain thing in a lot of like, if you've been at a shop a certain amount of time, especially early on in your career when you may be with like other artists who are maybe in a sort of like a similar kind of stage of their career, where like I remember working somewhere and I was in Ontario, loved everyone I worked with, but like we were kind of doing more kind of like Pinteresty street shop kind of stuff, and you know I draw something up and people would be like, fuck yeah, that's sweet, and I'm kind of like, but is it though? You know, I'm like, I want to be told that this needs this or this isn't, you know, like this is off, like maybe what about this? And like I think that was a big part of me moving to Steve's.
Just that second set of eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I always want to be like the smallest fish in a big pond. I never want to feel like the people around me are blown away by what I'm doing, because then I know I'm not doing it good enough, or it's like I'm not like, you know, I'm not getting the right people looking at it. Where someone's going to say like, yeah, that needs something, or have you thought about this? And that was a big move for me to go to Steve's, and was like, I want to work with people who I almost feel like I hate myself every day I come to work because everyone around me is crushing it. But that's what makes you stronger.
If you want smoke blown up your ass, just listen to your clients.
Yeah,
You know?
100%. Like, it's really good to just have that, like, put yourself in a vulnerable position, so that you can be like, oh yeah, I've got places to go, you know, because when everyone's blowing smoke up your ass, you can't see your fucking own feet in front of you, so you don't know where to go.
And I think the danger, though, there's got to be a balance. Like if you're in a studio where you think everyone is better than you, you could really cause a lot of mental health issues to yourself, knock yourself down. You have to understand that what they're doing is giving you feedback to grow, and they only do that because they think you're worth it.
100%.
You know, there has to be that balance where, you know, you have enough self-confidence that you don't.
You got to remember that you got there, like they let you in the door.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's like, but I mean, I often feel like me whenever I started a new studio or whatever, I almost feel like there's this little period where I've got to like find my place in the studio and then get through that initial like, fuck, like these guys are killing it, and then be like, well, again, like there's a reason I'm here, and then kind of rather than beat yourself up, see what you can learn from it. And I think that's I think a lot of creative people struggle with that kind of like constant comparison, and you know, you've got to, it's walking that fine line of like not like criticizing, being self-critical, but not beating yourself up over it.
Totally.
Because if you're not self-critical, you're one of those wankers who's always walking around thinking they're the shit, and everyone's like, that guy's a fucking cockhead.
Yeah,
totally.
And it's a balance.
Well, we might as well say, hey, James Bird.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. Hey, your name will be on the screen. It's okay.
Yeah. Good. If I remember.
Because we do have this rule.
Yeah, we have a rule
about you can't ask to be on the podcast, so we should put that out because people
we've mentioned it on the podcast, so people that actually watch apparently somebody else watch.
Yeah, it's transpired where somebody has to be on the podcast.
Yeah, I was like, I asked James Bird if we'll come, and he's like, he asked yesterday to be on. I was like, fuck. I was like, well, then we're gonna bring him on and call him out.
Well, when I was at the Edmonton pool party, Jess and Dev were like, oh, you got to hit him up and ask him, you know, like hit him up. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll just, you know, put the word out. And then I was like, fuck.
Well, and then Dan came to me and was like, hey, James wants to know how he can get on the podcast. And I'm like, I told Dan, I said, tell James to not ask to be on the podcast.
So it's Dan's fault.
It is.
It's Dan's fault.
Yeah, but I mean, you're on, but you're only going to get 20 minutes.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take what I can get this time. Yeah. I'm always down to shoot the shit. So,
all right. So let's just do a quick background.
Mm-hmm.
Tell everybody who you are.
I'm James Bird.
From England, right?
I wish. Well, half
New
English.
Zealand.
I wish even more.
Tasmania.
No, Melbourne.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, half British, half Australian.
Aren't you all?
Yeah, well, I mean, eventually, depends on how far back you go.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I'm like legit, Dad was British, Mum was Australian, so it's like I always have this inner turmoil of the two sides. You know? Like, the colonizers and the fucking, like, the convicts. Like, man, it burns up inside of me every day. But no, I always tell people, like, if people guess New Zealand, I'm like, thank fuck, I fucking hate the Australian accent. So anytime someone thinks that I'm not from Australia is actually a bonus.
I think what happens when Aussies move to Canada is they end up with a Kiwi accent.
I think
Sort of Kiwi accent.
apparently mine's not that strong as some. Like, I can put it on pretty heavy when I've had a few beers. I think it's like 5 beers. That's when I get full Australian.
If you were from Brisbane, it'd be fucking
My
harsh.
brother's from Brisbane. Fuck yeah, it's a whole other thing up there. But yeah, so originally from Australia, I've been in Canada now for 6 years.
Okay.
And started tattooing like 18 years ago now.
Oh, that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Great.
Yeah.
Where's your gray?
What's that?
Where's your gray?
I don't know, but like I shouldn't actually show anyone, but yeah, it's starting to thin at the back instead. I kind of wish I was. Yeah, I wish I was going grey, but I'm just like getting a little bit of a friar tuck going on back here, and I only ever see it when someone takes me a photo of me tattooing head down. I'm like, fuck, man.
So your journey was Australia to Ontario.
Yep.
To Vancouver.
Yeah, so I originally went to Ontario maybe like 10 years ago, while my partner at the time did a semester of uni. And then, so I did 6 months there, then went back home for a while and came back because I already had kind of friends and clients there. And then, like, I had a sponsorship thing lined up there, but it just kind of was that thing where I was like, I kind of want to push myself to go bigger and work with, like, some of these people that I do, really look up to creatively. And so then I made the move out to BC, and I've been there for 6 years.
Yeah, because when you joined Steveston,
Mhm.
Stace was still there.
Stace was there.
Chris Windsor was still
Yep,
there. For
and
a little bit.
Miles.
Miles was still there because I came out and did a guest spot, and that's
Yep.
when all you guys were
Yep.
still there. So
Yeah, and then so since then, then I think from that, like, Stace left not long after I started.
Yeah.
And then
So,
Wizzy,
was there bad blood there?
I don't know, like, it's honestly,
probably just couldn't fucking get over the fact that he kept saying, "Give me some chips."
exactly. Is there bad blood with me leaving, or with
No. You were the reason why Stace left.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And we all know you would have left Steveston because of Ryan, because, chaos.
Oof. I'm not gonna get too much into that, but like I'd like to think it kind of it wasn't expected, it wasn't planned, but I'd like to think it'll still work out in the end. But
Always does.
You've
been there for
6
6 years. Yeah.
Ryan's good shit.
Yeah, and
That's a long time to be in one spot.
it is. It's the longest I've worked at a studio, and it's hard. I live downtown, and then I also live out in Hope, like 3 days a week as well.
You're
So
still doing that?
yeah, we're only like we bought a house early this year in June. So yeah, we're out there 3 days a week, and then in the city 4 days a week. And so it is what it is. Hopefully, it all kind of lays out. Comes out in the wash and all smooths out. But I think it was not what I expected to. It wasn't planned, but it's still. I think it went as smooth as those things can ever go.
Yeah.
It's never easy leaving a shop, and it's like it's like a breakup, like it's
Totally.
fuck. I've moved shops quite a bit in my time. I traveled quite a bit and did like 6 months at a shop here and there, just traveling, and that's always pretty easy because you're like, well, I'm leaving, so it's not like. But when you've been somewhere for a long time, and it's like it's like a breakup where it's almost like this. You feel like someone wants to be like, why, and you're just like, it's just time,
Dude, you live and work in 3 different cities.
It's not you, it's me.
Hope is a city, Vancouver is a city, Richmond is a city.
they're all far apart.
And they're not close together.
No, and so that's like I don't think I could tattoo in Hope. There's a shop there, but I don't think I could tattoo in Hope personally. I don't think my style would really hit out in Hope so much.
No.
Let's see, want to do Rambo tattoos all summer.
Oh, if I started just doing Rambo flash for my fucking my spare room, I'm sure I'd make a killing, but not really my jam. But so at least if I'm downtown Van, it'll be close to walk, I'm sure, and
simplify your life.
Yeah, and it's like my partner's shop. She owns a clothing store, and it's like 10 minutes walk from our house as well. So I think if we've got those kind of work closer to home, it's going to make the drive back to Hope a little bit more bearable as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's where I've kind of set up my workshop as well out the Hope place now. So that's where I do all the sculpting and printing and painting. I'm really fortunate. I've got like a nice little two room like extra bungalow on our property. So one's the printing room, one's the painting room, and just kind of get out there and really just get amongst it in the woods is actually pretty nice. So,
Sweet. Where can people find you on the socials?
Horicho Tattoo.
Who gave you the Hori name?
So my friend Akira did some of my early work when I first started getting to Japanese work, and so it's not an official kind of like he didn't apprentice me, but I used to go to Japan every 2 years, and then those guys would come and stay with me as well. So that's kind of where I first started getting into Japanese kind of style work.
Yeah,
and it was more kind of just like this would be your Hori name, and then when I needed to work under a pseudonym, it kind of I was like, well, I've already got a cool Instagram name, because it's fucking hard making up like we can't all be Water Street Phantoms.
No.
Like it's hard to pick a name that like is kind of like a pseudonym, and it's like kind of going under the radar that doesn't sound like a complete wanker. And but I always did struggle as well with the fact that like it bothered me that like people probably thought I was Asian. Like I had clients be like, oh, I thought you'd be Asian. I'm like, sorry, but like I hope you still like my work. But it's like so I'm glad to be able to work under my real name and still use Horicho as more of a brand now. But it was a weird spot there where I kind of was specifically under the radar, and it was kind of like, fuck, I feel a little bit shitty. Like I don't want anyone to call me out for appropriating anything or anything. But it is what it is.
You can back it up. So.
I'd like to think so, but
yeah. Well, and that's why I asked, right? Some people give themselves names, right?
Yeah.
You were given your name. That's a big difference, right?
Yeah,
like
I mean,
Doug Fink, Horicho, he got it from Ryujin, right? Like it's that's something that some people may not understand. It's like if you like the word Hori and the meaning of it, don't just put it in front of your name. No.
Yeah.
It's something that is given to you by somebody that's respected and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
it was weird when Dus Wu used to just call me Master Shawn. He never called me Hori, but like because he's Chinese, right? But he always, how long you tattoo? I'm like, over 25 years. Oh, you Master. I'm like, I'm not a fucking. Calm down. Always calm down. Would call me that in the morning. I'd be coming in with my coffee.
You're like, man, I'm barely awake right now.
And he'd be like, and I'd be like, no, stop.
Yeah. Maybe after like 12 o'clock, you're like, then maybe I'll be a little bit closer to being a master. But right now, I'm like, bro, we're barely alive.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
But no,
all right, sorry. So go back to where everybody can find you and your work.
Yeah, sorry. So social is pretty much just Horicho Tattoo. And website is horichotattoo.com. And then, so I'm, let's say, just left Stevenson. I'll be probably I'm going to go and work somewhere in Vancouver. Start of early December. I'm going to take off November and just chill out. But I'll be taking bookings again in Vancouver in December.
Do you have a shop yet?
Not yet, but I've been chatting with Dave over at Sacred Heart, so hopefully that's where I'll land.
Yeah, they got space.
Yeah, and again, just it's that thing where I'm like, working with people who I'm like, fuck yeah, like I want to work with people who I
make
can
you
ask.
sad.
Yeah, exactly.
Go in every day and see what Steve Moore's working on.
Exactly. Like again, it's like it's a little bit sadomasochistic. I want to go in and hate myself every day, but so that I can build myself back up. That's the plan.
Best thing about working with Steve is that it's so inspirational too, and he'll just do whatever he can to help you with your drawing.
Yeah,
like he's
seems like super lovely guy, and just like that's kind of the thing I've noticed about Canadian tattooers, heavy hitters. I've noticed here, like a lot of heavy hitters here are fucking just good people as well. Yeah, like I've met so many people here who I look up to and kind of go into it being like, they've got a right to be a dickhead, but they're not. They're stoked to be amongst it, and just it's nice here. It's one of the things I like about working in Canada.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. The Australian the other day said the same thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's what we like about it. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry I asked, but I'm glad I asked as well because I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
That's all you get.
That's fine.
He's getting tattooed by
Eddie.
Yeah. He's working my show this week.
Oh, is he?
Well, this weekend. Well, I'm working here with
Who is it?
Jamie John.
He worked in Winnipeg. He's from Winnipeg.
Yeah, he went to Kurt's shop for a little while.
Oh, okay.
He's got fucking, you see his back piece?
No, I saw a bit of it.
Noseworthy, dude. It's
Noseworthy.
Yeah.
It's
Whatever. He shit his pants.
For real.
For real.
I've done that a couple times.
Can't make it 50.
No. Exactly.
Yeah. I've almost. I'm definitely down a couple T-shirts throughout my life. A hat.
Just let it a fart, and all of a sudden you're like, "Ooh, that's going to itch when it dries."
Can't just a fart right that stage. Eh?
Exactly.
Oh my god! Holy shit, Mike Peace.
Long time, man.
Yeah, buddy. I haven't seen you in so goddamn long.
Congratulations on the convention.
Oh. I want to say this on piece. Fuck that guy. You know? Love you, Steve.
Did he charge you full price?
Probably.
Yeah.
And he always sticks me by the stage every time.
What did you do to him?
Nothing.
I was right by the stage at the Hedley show, and I looked at James, and he's like, "There's no bands." I'm like, "Wow, yeah, nice."
Yeah, I went over to the other room, and I was talking. He goes, "It's nice and quiet over here." I'm like, "Yeah, it's super quiet over here."
Yeah. There's also not many people over there.
Yeah. I
Like,
think the
people
worst-
don't even know that there's something over there.
Yeah, no, totally. The worst one ever was the first Edmonton convention. We were like, I can't remember, 2003 or 4, whatever it was. And we were right next to the stage, and it was the Enigma.
Oh.
And he had the worst act ever, and it was the same thing like 4 times a day.
Oh, fuck. Is that guy still alive?
No, I heard from him from
I
wherever.
wonder if his bodysuit's a different color now.
Still blue and green.
Just one big piece now, though.
One big piece.
Probably.
Did he have autism?
Probably.
The puzzle pieces are like the
If
symbol.
there was one,
for autism.
I got it. There was one
And he
piece.
got it.
missing, probably.
Yeah.
More than a piece.
Yeah, I know. I actually missed that one, but yeah.
No, my wife was like this.
Yeah. She's still setting up programs and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
or
well, she
she's
runs
settling
a
down?
company, an autism partnership, and she just became an actual psychologist.
Oh,
Right.
fuck.
I was
Awesome.
like, fuck, now I could never win an argument.
Yeah.
Not that I could before.
Yeah.
She figured you out a long time.
Yeah.
Instantly, yeah.
Yeah, because you've done big moves for that job for her, right? You lived in Hawaii for a while.
For a year, yeah.
So that she could set up
Amazing.
programs.
Yeah.
She was setting up programs in Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Which, of
Winnipeg.
course, she didn't have to live there for that.
No. Yeah, she went to Winnipeg, and yeah, she one of the biggest autism books in the world was written by her 2 bosses, and there's a second edition, and she's part of it as well.
Fantastic.
Pretty awesome, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
She's
Badass.
That makes it easier for her to live with you.
Oh, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Lifelong case study.
Yeah. She must be on Stacy Fink's speed dial. How do you deal with this?
I can't. Dougie's awesome.
Let him
One
go.
of a kind, that guy.
Oh my god, he's the best.
The best.
Holy
She
shit.
was like, "Your name's Jen." I'm like, "Nope."
Yeah. Jan Michael Vincent. Google that shit.
John Michael Vincent Price, yeah.
Yeah.
He's familiar. Who's that?
You remember
Airwolf.
Airwolf?
Oh fuck.
Fall Guy?
Yeah.
That's.
Oh,
Doug is convinced.
he was in the Fall Guy.
Wasn't he in the Fall Guy?
Oh, that was Lee Majors, wasn't it?
No, he was Lee Major's buddy, the side.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I rewatched that show. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That all became about because there was an interview with member Jan Michael Vincent, and he just came in a car accident. He was like,
Yeah,
super
so
bad
fucked up.
alcoholic, and-
Yeah.
And Doug thought he kind of looked like me or something. Like that.
Yeah.
And then the lady's like, "Are you drunk right now?" Because he had really bad addiction problems. And then he's like, "No, I'm super sober."
Super sober.
I think it was actually, how do you remember that was, Gmail was just a brand new thing, right? And so I'm like, I got to put in my email. He goes, "Well, don't use your normal name." He goes, "Just use like Jan Michael Peace." He actually wanted it to be Jan Michael Vincent Peace. Pretty fucking funny.
Oh my god. So, who are you?
My name's Mike, by the way, Mike Peace. I'm from Calgary, Alberta, and started tattooing here in 2001. My brother's shop.
Nice.
And your brother is Steve
Steve.
Peace. We don't even talk to him, though. He's been on this before.
Yeah.
People are always like, "You really just Steven?"
Who's that?
Yeah.
In name only.
I went to a place to get some dry cleaning one time, and the girl's like, "Are you a tattoo artist?" I said, "Yeah." "How do you know?" She was like, "Last name's Peace." I said, "Yeah." She goes, "You really just Steven?" I'm like, "No, who's that?"
Did he apprentice you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a piece of the puzzle I never got.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was under the impression that you guys learned like in separate shops, kind of thing.
No.
Different paths for
No,
tattooing.
I was working at Buddha, and Steve,
In what capacity?
I was the counter guy at Spine
Yeah,
Buddha
okay.
from 99 to 2001. Eventually, then I moved to Hawaii. But Steve was working for Paul's former wife as a piercer there.
Wink.
Wink, yeah. And then he was kind of tattooing out of his house.
Wait,
and
Steve was a
then-
piercer?
Yeah.
It all makes sense now, doesn't it?
So he did that, and then my ex-wife was piercing with him, and she was originally working at Smiling Buddha, but then she was learning how to pierce, and then I left the Red Lobster and worked at the shop.
We should do a podcast. Where did you work before you were a tattooer?
Red Lobster.
Red Lobster.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. All you can eat bread.
Yep.
Awesome.
Biscuits.
So you started at Immaculate
Yep.
under your brother.
Yeah, and then
How long did he apprentice you for? Was it a
wasn't
pretty
crazy.
traditional?
No, really,
No.
no. I mean, making needles and I got flux in my eye a bunch of times, which was cool. And then, yeah, I think I apprenticed, and then I did my first tattoo after like 4 months. It was in Kanji, and just kind of went from there.
Yeah. And how long did you stick it out with him?
5 years.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
5 years, and then it took about 5 years till we talked again. No, it wasn't that bad. And then I went and worked for Doug.
Okay.
I was working with Doug, and he gave me a shout, and he said, "Hey, we looking for someone. You want to do it?" So I said, "Sure." Yep. And I was with Dougie for 3 years, 2 or 3 years, I think, and then went to Stringfield for I can't remember, it was 8 years, maybe.
Wow.
5 or 8 years, I
Yeah.
think it was.
That's great.
And then I opened my shop in 2015.
Which is called
Parlor Tattoo Studio.
Parlor Tattoo.
Yeah, here in Calgary, Alberta.
I know too.
Crazy. So yeah, so you had only been working with Doug maybe a year when I came, probably.
because that was at the original shop, right?
I came to the original shop.
Yeah, and that's where I met you first.
Yeah.
And I think that was
Oh,
years.
07, I think. Yeah, it was 07.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, because I was there almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Because then I left for Saskatoon and then ended up in Edmonton for 09. But I didn't work at Edmonton. I worked in Red Deer.
Right, yeah.
And drove over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 07 we worked together at the original shop. And then in that time, he bought out Shawn. There was all that shit.
Yeah,
And
and
then
we
he
moved.
moved to the second
Yeah.
floor. And it was
And
me,
then-
you, and Finky right at the very front of the shop.
Shit show.
That was great.
The
Yeah.
the crackheads getting the paychecks on Friday. Was
Yeah,
awesome.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking corner windows with the labor place
In the
downstairs.
basement,
All the crackheads getting their checks and shit. Like seeing a guy literally get his check
yeah.
and
Airplane
then
fly.
an airplane fly down through traffic.
With the money in his hand and handed it right to the dealer.
Yeah. Because all the dealers would just come and hang out on the other side of the street.
Of course.
It was awesome.
Yeah, so good.
That was a great place to work.
Yeah. And Jamie Boy, James Jacobs.
Yeah, Jimmy
That one
James.
time we saw some school kids getting accosted by the crackheads and we
Yeah.
all fucking ran out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Screw you, crackheads.
Leave those kids alone.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
Super fun.
Yeah, and then I left, and then you left.
Yeah.
And
And then went downhill from there.
yeah.
Shop closed, didn't it? It's boarded up now.
Gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody can work with that Dutch guy anymore.
He's working in the basement now down there.
He's the guy going through the street. On roller skates, missing a wheel.
And not high.
and not high at all. Like, no.
He doesn't need it.
Yeah, fantastic.
He's awesome.
Cool. How was it opening up your own shop? Well, it was just the time.
It was just a time, yep. It was good. It was scary. It was 2015, so the economy wasn't as good, but it was good, yeah.
Yeah.
And then people come, people go, and then we expanded to upstairs, and
Oh, yeah, 2 floors.
How many people working there?
there's 8
8. And you started with how many when you opened?
3.
3.
Myself and 2 others.
Did you steal them from another shop when you?
One, Hillary Cooper, she was at Stranger with me, and then we both moved together, and then this other guy, John Pease.
John Peace.
Pease. with
Oh,
an S.
okay. I was like,
Yeah.
I guess I'm the third brother.
There's a third, by the way. That's not him.
Guado.
Yeah. Quato.
Inside joke, sorry.
Sorry. Dougie knows.
Doug knows, yeah, if he listens. Yeah.
No, he wants.
No. We should trap him in a room and make him just listen to his episode. Fuck, he'd go crazy.
He was so fucking nervous.
You could tell he was,
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
which is funny because he's a pretty
Confident guy.
Yeah.
He was
Scotty
like-
Ford still with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. He's been with you a long time.
Oh wow,
Yeah, quite a long time.
crazy.
I worked with Scotty at my brother's shop.
Yeah.
He worked there originally, and then he got the job at Buddha and stuff. And
Yeah, and then you were.
then when I opened my shop, it was when we were expanding to the upstairs. he just came and looked at it. He's like, "It's awesome." And then he's thinking about leaving where he was, and it'd be cool if he did. And he's kind of humming, and he's like, "Okay, I'll do it." Wow. So yeah, it's so inspiring watching that guy every day. It's
His paintings are.
yeah. Just as
Pencil
painting,
drawings.
but all that kind of thing. And then you meet him, and everyone's like, "The nicest guy you ever meet."
You know, we interview a ton of people, and it's amazing how many times that comes up about this guy is so fucking amazing tattooer, and he's so nice. You know?
Like the nicest, most genuine person.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I met him when he was at Buddha, and I did a guest spot at Body Ink.
Oh, wow.
And the only tattooers there was actually me and Veronica.
Was Gagne the piercer there then?
He wasn't,
Sorry, man.
but Natalie was the camera girl.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And so Laura, my girlfriend Laura at the time, was friends with Scotty, and she was like, "Oh, Scotty wants to get tattooed," and I was like, "Bye,
Yeah.
by you," and I'm like, "Okay."
You had a big peony in the back.
No, chrysanthemum on the back of his knee, in the knee ditch. He sat great. Then he went and played baseball.
Yeah, the scabs on that thing afterwards.
Yeah, he was like, I thought I wasn't gonna be able to walk. Yeah. I was like, I told you not to play baseball, man. But yeah, it blew me away when he wanted to get tattooed by me. I was just like, what? Okay, sure. Yeah, but such a
Yeah, my third tattoo ever on Scotty. Third or fourth or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a little skull with flames, and the flames are actually still colored.
Nice.
Believe it or not, yellow's probably gone.
yeah. Yeah, it was probably Star Bright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red, nothing, yellow. Like this tattoo on the inside of my arm. No origin in it.
It's gone brownish.
Yellow, brown. No, it was right there, right in the middle.
Cool. And now you're teaching your son how to tattoo.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal having my kid at the shop. It's cool, especially now because he's like 19 and he's never home ever, and I can still hang with him every day. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Super good kid, got a good head on his shoulders.
You don't worry.
Which is
You
weird
tattooer money.
that he wanted to be a tattooer. That just shows the difference
Yeah.
in generations of the new tattooers, right?
Totally,
Like,
yeah.
He didn't want to rebel against you and go to the church.
No.
yeah, or be a piercer.
Yeah. Totally.
I want to be like a piercer, like Uncle Steve.
No, he's right into it. And he'd always draw when he was a little kid. I got a picture of him. I was even send it to you guys. And I was tattooing Johnny that worked at Strange World with me. This big thing on his ribs. And Maddox was in there with us. It was on a Sunday we were doing it. And he actually tattooed for a few minutes. He's 4 years old. The gloves are way too big. And he's just, yeah, pretty cool.
That is cool. It's crazy to see that. Like,
Yeah.
Second generation tattooers.
And I let all my kids tattoo me the day before they turned 13. Just so I could say I got a tattoo for my kid when they were still a child.
Yeah.
And he did one, and he was really into narwhals at the time, so it's up on my leg. It's just a narwhal giving the finger.
Oh, man. That's rad. Cool. And he's been doing it 2 years now.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. He was going to art school for a while, and then he's going to go back this year, and he goes, I just want a tattoo. I mean, I know I already know how to draw. Like, a kid can draw amazingly, and why do I want to go to school if this is what I want to do?
Well, and if you want to do tattoos, they're just going to teach you how to draw for not tattooing.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas you want to learn how to draw for tattooing.
Well, he did really get into the jewelry making aspect of it. He had a dream there of like making grills for rappers in New York. That's a pretty good gig if you
Yeah,
Yeah.
still do it.
Yeah. You can make you some swap outs.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Some good ones.
Jealous of the fucking gold, man. Are they gold replacements or are they fronts?
They're all caps, like crowns. Crowns.
Okay,
Yeah. This one here, is there one in this head? Yeah, that one. I had to get it done twice. I had a surgery a few years ago, and they had the thing down your throat, and you have to sign a thing saying if you have any crowns, they might knock it out.
Yeah.
And it was fine afterwards. And 2 years later, I was driving home, and I bite my nail like this, and the gold thing went flying. I was like, "What the hell?" And I still got it at home. So I went to the dentist. Like, "Can you put this back on?" He's like, "No, we can't." So they couldn't even use the gold anymore. So they had to do like I had to go to get a $1,500 surgery, and they lasered away a bunch of my gum around the tooth that was still there, and then put the new tooth on there. So that's a $3,000 tooth. That one.
Damn.
Yeah.
CEOs.
That's right. That is awesome.
So who's all at your shop now? Who's your crew?
Oh man, me, Scotty Ford, Dylan Llewellyn, Tim, Anna, my son. Who else is
This is a sign that your shop's too big.
there? Yeah. or my
Too many
memory, or
artists.
my memories is shit.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome.
Well, we don't ever do this for these minis. Top 5.
Yeah.
Oh man, fuck! I had a list. And
I was
forgot.
gonna ask you what's the favorite tattoo you have on you?
I'll show you that afterwards.
Yeah.
Top 5 of all times.
Just your top 5. It could be of your all time. It could be what's inspiring you
Right now.
Paul Jeffries,
Well, I figured that.
100%, number 1, top. Working for that guy was the best. Dustin Coach,
Yeah.
love that kid. Oh man, sorry.
So far, we have 2 of the same in the top 5.
Jeez, who else? Eddie Deutsch is amazing. I remember seeing a tattoo he did in San Francisco in '97. Was that convention?
Oh yeah,
And it was
when
a
your brother
dragon?
made it into the magazine.
Yeah, it was a dragon, but it was 13 Buddhas at the same time, and it was a roller coaster. So each
Oh yeah.
god had a different roller coaster. It was phenomenal. Eddie Deutsch, Rick Walters.
Wow, that's a classic from the past.
I got tattooed by Rick Walters, and it was one of the best days of my life.
Wow.
The guy was so amazing.
I worked with you.
We were in California. My daughter was dancing at Disneyland, and I'm like, I gotta go see Rick Walters. I'd messaged him, and he's like, yeah, come down and get tattooed. So we go in there, and it's just him at the shop, just sitting there. I'm like, oh my god, it's Rick Walters. And we're sitting outside talking for a few minutes. This guy's come up and got his autograph or something like that. And we go inside and talk for a bunch more. He shows me all this flash, telling me stories about when he was working at the Pike. He worked there for 25 years. He was the shop manager, and there's like gunfights going on. There's like bullets whipping by your head and stuff. It was just the stories he had. All this, I was on acid when I drew this flash and stuff. And it was, it was so good. And so I got a tattoo. It's just his head. It's like a cartoon of him. It just says Rick Walters hates you.
Rad.
Yeah. The tattoo took him 10 minutes, right? And we sat for like 3-4 hours talking. And I'm like, how much should he? He goes, nothing, man. That's respect. I was like, wow. Of course, I tipped him, but it was,
Yeah.
so good. How many is that? 4?
That's 4.
5?
Steve Peace.
He's my favorite brother for sure. Just kidding, Dave. My brother Dave.
Yeah, he's my brother Dave. He's your favorite.
I might have to say another old school guy, Terry Wrigley.
Oh, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I had to hang out with Terry at a couple conventions, and
I'm tattooed by his son.
yeah, I went and worked at his son's.
Yeah, I got
He
tattooed
was
by.
awesome. He was awesome. The stories about that guy were some of the best ever. Like some of the stories he'd fuck with people when they passed out. Say this one person passed out, and he just kind of put his machine down, wound the guy's watch ahead 3 hours. And then the guy's like, oh, I'm sorry, this is okay. We charge by the hour, even for 3.5 hours, and charge the guy. This is some of his deals. He said some old lady, the older lady with white hair was in there, and she passed out or something, and he was just, oh, for fuck's sake, he's just sitting there, and then she wakes up, and she's like, I'm sorry, and she had white hair, and he puts black ink in his hands. Okay, love, he's rubbing her hair, it's all black and stuff. Like, one guy threw up apparently, and like as he was tattooing into the lap towel, and Terry didn't skip a beat and just grabbed it, wrapped it up, and put it on the guy's neck, and finished the tattoo. He had to sit there in front of him. Crazy story. And Terry was an awesome guy. I remember
That's fucking Scotland.
Yeah. We were at the one convention in Philadelphia, and Terry was there, and I had gone somewhere with someone else, and we came back, and Steven, his son, sitting there with this tray like this full of drinks. He's got this horrible look on his face. He goes, what's wrong? He goes, Dad said I can't go to sleep until I drink all of these. And he'd gone to bed already, right? So me and him just yeah, that rounds about. I mean, I'm sure I could add 10 more, but
Yeah, of course. Everybody's like that. Favorite tattoo?
that I have.
Yeah, that you have.
I got an unfinished photo on my knee from Dustin. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
My back piece is pretty cool from Kurt Wisco.
I'm sure it is.
It took 50 grueling hours, but it's amazing.
Did he fine line you, like single wheel you at the end of sessions at all?
No, it was better than that. It was the last session I got tattooed. I did 12 hours on Friday and 7 hours on Saturday.
Oh my god.
So on Friday, he did from like the middle of my back up, and then the next day from my bum up. And at the very end, where it was meeting, the two were meeting, he said, I got this cream. It's like 18% lidocaine. And he put it on me. And as he started tattooing, I couldn't feel it. To the point where 4 hours after the tattoo was done, we went for dinner at Boston Pizza, and I thought I was falling through the chair because it was exactly where it was numb. So I couldn't feel it. I'm like, this is amazing. I was totally relaxed after that. And he goes, I just got more things to do. I said, that's fine, go ahead. Until he came back up to this side, which he was 24 hours later, and touched up a bunch of green. I was like, oh my God, it's the worst. He goes, okay, I got one last thing to do. I said, okay.
One more thing.
And then he said, I just got to put a pattern on the snake. And the snake goes from my ass to up here. And he took out this thing, he called it the 20 round. And it was like as big as my finger, and then put the pattern on the snake, the last thing. That was the worst pain I ever felt.
I watched him tattoo Dustin's armpit, and he would finish the tattoo and then pull out a single and put all these fine cracks into it.
Wow. He did that to, I believe it was Job, got the chrysanthemum, did it all, and Job's like, oh, thank God, we're fucking done. Oh, no. Goes back in and has to go with a single needle, like detailing all through the chrysanthemum. Woo!
So crazy.
Good times.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody's got their process.
Yeah, I think I've had the heaviest handed and the lightest handed in Canada.
Who's the heaviest handed?
Kurt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the lightest?
Paul.
To you. Oh, yeah. I've heard so much about Paul, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Dave C. also.
Yeah. Well, I've had one tattoo that hurt last year. I got a portrait on the back of my thigh and my leg ditch of Jeff Hanneman from Slayer by Bob Terrell. Did not feel a thing the entire time. Like nothing. Like it just kind of felt like it was the craziest thing ever. Yeah. And I got to show Kerry King the next day. It's pretty cool.
That is cool. And Carrie said, should have been me.
No, Kerry said because he was supposed to hang out with Kerry afterwards. And he looks at me, and he goes, that's why Bob was late. You're the reason. I'm like, no, Bob's the reason. He's like, yeah, they call him Slow Bob. That's a good tattoo too. I have to pick another favorite one.
Yeah. Sick. Awesome, buddy.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. So good to
Thanks
see you,
for having
man.
Yeah, always good to see you.
Yeah.
Always thanks for sending shirts by too.
Of course.
The Holdfast Social Club keeps expanding and adding features to make the life of tattooers easier. We just launched a classified section for pros only. Sell your tattoo gear, prints, whatever, in one spot. This is on top of a platform with peer-to-peer vouching, direct connect, a wait list, and geo-searching. Now you can find guest spots or forever homes at studios everywhere. No guessing, no awkward conversations. See what shops or artists have to offer. Mark them as favorites or add yourself to their wait list to let them know you are interested. Holdfast Social Club keeps adding features to make connecting easy. Pros only, a place where the best of us can elevate each other.
You don't keep in touch with people like you used to. So
For sure.
this is for us has been fucking great. I like seeing him laugh. Like that's always been since we met first day. That's always been like the best thing about our friendship is like I'm just trying to make him laugh.
Because you
all
don't
the time.
laugh enough, or because you laugh?
No, it's just he's got a great laugh.
Oh, yeah.
And we both grew up in Scarborough, right? So we
Yeah.
have a similar sense of humor. So it's the same,
Yeah.
This is like a perfect vehicle for us
Yeah.
to have fun and be.
Yeah, and I'm getting to interview people that, I wished I would have went up to 20 years ago
Right.
at a convention and
Right.
been like, hey, I'm Shawn.
Yeah.
Right? But I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. Right? Now I'm
Well,
doing
back
it.
in the day, yeah.
Right? And, like, fuck, I
Intimidating or whatever.
just got to sit and hang out with Trevor McStay the other day,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It's just like,
And it's better
It's
than
awesome.
even talking to someone at a convention because we actually get to ask you questions and
For sure.
find shit out, right?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
dude, Christopher McPherson went up to Jack Rudy and showed him that he bought his book a few years ago and like asked him like, hey, and drew in front of him. And then Jack was like, oh yeah, that's good. Keep doing that. But for that, do this. And gave him like a little
Rad.
thing. He's like, nicest guy ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Just
super.
like-
I met him in LA a couple times. Just
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah.
You
I was getting tattooed yesterday and BJ called him up and said, come over. He
Oh,
came over.
you got tattooed by BJ?
Yeah.
Oh, rad. I thought I saw you sitting there. Yeah, rad.
Introduced me and then he's like, tell us some stories. And I get tattooed, listen to him tell stories,
oh, man,
and then
by BJ too.
some random girl coming in and asking Jack these weird questions about his fucking weird out of this world story. It was like
Awesome.
it was
man.
surreal. It was so fun.
It's crazy to think that some people don't even know who he is now.
Right.
Well,
A lot, actually. A lot of people.
Eddie
Yeah.
was saying he will say no, but go up and ask him to tattoo you. He's not going to tattoo anybody here, but it would fucking be so good for him if you just fucking ask, like
Yeah.
somebody, like anybody, right?
Yeah.
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 Well, Christopher's going to ask.
Because nobody's
Yeah.
asking. Because no one, all these
Nobody
kids-
knows
Everyone's
no
getting,
one,
and most
Yeah.
people think that he wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, it's the same as like when Stace said yesterday, I'm getting tattooed by the Deutsch. And I'm like, everybody's going to not know who that is. And he's like, actually, yeah. Because when I
He
said,
yeah.
yeah. And
Shit.
so Stace yesterday was like, yeah. He's like, I said to a couple people, like, oh, I'm getting tattooed by Eddie Deutsch. And they're like, oh, who's that? and it's just like,
Oof.
what?
We were at Burrow, and they were desperately trying to get paper to the convention for Eddie because he didn't have a banner. And he's like, "You got some paper? I want to paint a banner real quick."
Rad.
So they were like, "I'm like, you got to take that banner. Like when the show's over,
Yeah,
he's
for
not gonna take it
sure.
home. Fucking take it, frame it, put it in the shop."
Yeah.
I just went by. Do you see the fucking banner?
No.
It's just Eddie Deutsch.
Perfect.
Where was he? LA or something?
Yeah.
It's just handwriting, no picture. I told him that, and he's laughing. He's like, "I was gonna paint it, but just no time."
No time.
Funny.
Yeah.
I like when people do that. They forget their banners. They just write it on a piece of cardboard or something.
Yeah.
It's super funny.
Yeah. I had a duct tape one year.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I think people get creative. Like, fuck, I left my banner at home. I've seen hotel room sheets before. Like,
Rob Hope and those guys had the porn ones the one year.
Rob Hope had NSYNC, I think, or Backstreet Boys. Like they went to Walmart and bought posters.
Did you get one from the strip joint and bring it in?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck. It's so
No.
funny.
I mean, this works too because people like draws attention
Totally.
for sure.
Yeah. Like Aaron Hill in Toronto always had.
Oh, the best.
That's good.
Yeah. The breast tattooer in town.
Amazing.
Yeah. Right? You look at it and you see best tattooer in town, and then you double take, and it's like, nope, that says breast.
So good.
Yeah. Awesome. Connor, thanks for joining
Yeah,
us.
thank you.
That's just
Glad we got it to work
super basic thing, man. Tell everybody who you are
Yeah.
and kind of a little bit about your start.
My name is Connor Garrity. I took my apprenticeship in Edmonton, 1997, with Glenn Warwa, Raptor Tattoo.
Raptor, that's it's been around forever.
I was the next apprentice after Danny Gordy.
Oh, wow.
So I was Glenn's second apprentice. I think maybe he helped his daughter out a little bit. I don't know. Noni was a piercer. Anyway, when they had just moved to the shop on 124th from above the Bronx, they used to be above the Bronx. I don't know if you guys know. I'm talking like you know about that.
Yeah.
Bronx was it's still there. It's called the Starlight Room now, but the Bronx was the local like underground indie like metal club venue to play at back in the day. But Glenn had Raptor. The original Raptor was this tiny little shop upstairs. And when I was like 16, 17, I want to get a tattoo. My brother had tattoos and I want one. And I fucking flipped through a magazine and cut out. It was a Philip Lou. No, maybe it was a Philip Lou. One of at the back of the magazine had little flash pieces in it.
Yeah.
And I cut it was like this weird looking tribal thing. I brought it in, and the girl was like, I think it was Noni, I think it was Glenn's daughter. She's like, "Are you 18? Yeah." And then she's just like, basically saw the picture, and she's like, "Well, why don't you come back next week and bring your proper ID, and if you still want this, I'll do it." Thank God. Because I didn't really want it. I just wanted to get tattooed. So and then flash forward a few months later, I went in there again. I went into Raptor again, and they had moved to 124th Street where they were until he closed it. And Danny did my first tattoo. And
Cool.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm like, I was a kid. I didn't know anything about tattooing.
Yeah.
Anything about who these people were, like at all. So I was still in high school. And then I found out later on who Danny was and like the kind of history. And then flash forward 2 years, and I'm apprenticing with the guy that taught the guy that did my first tattoo. So it was pretty cool. Yeah. I worked there for 2.5, 3 years almost with Trevor Grimolfson. I don't know if you guys know who he was. He was from Winnipeg originally. He was, from Edmonton, most people from Edmonton know who he was. He was just a big, crazy wrestler kind of guy. Like, he worked a lot with Kurt back in Winnipeg back in the day.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway, he was a rad dude. And so I was fortunate to work around a few guys in that studio, but Trevor just kind of took me under his wing, and I was terrified of him, but also like super excited to like be friends with him because he was like a weed smoker and just a big muscular dude that was like, okay, well, at least I got this guy on my side. And he thought I was cool because I was in a band. And
I was going to ask you, what was the name of your band back then?
I was in a band called Skull Farmer.
Skull Farmer.
Yeah,
that
Skull
was it.
Farmer. That was in Edmonton. That was my first band, and that was when I first started tattooing. Anyway, and then I left for Vancouver in '98, and I was.
Is that when we met? Like
that
that
would have been like June '98. Yeah.
Damn.
Because we went into Sacred Heart
days after we moved. Like,
Yeah.
I remember Jeff and I were living in Kits, and we rode our bikes.
Yeah, yeah. You were at right at
Fourth and McDonald.
McDonald.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So
Great neighborhood.
Yeah, right above Nom.
Oh,
is that what it's called?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. When you guys were up, you were on the. You guys had that apartment above all the stores, right?
No. There was the apartment we were in was next to.
Oh,
that.
next to
And then,
that.
like,
Oh,
the
that's right.
Darby or the whatever that little liquor store. And all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
But I remember just getting to Vancouver and being like, well, I'm a tattooer now. I've been tattooing for 2 years. Like, I'll get a job wherever I want. And I remember, like, coming into you guys and like being like asking Dave for a job, and he's just like, dude, in a super nice way. Like, he was just super nice, but he's like, come back when you have some more years under your belt or more experience. And it was a struggle. Vancouver was a tough city at
So
first.
who did take you?
I don't remember what happened. We started getting tattooed there. Like, my cousin, I never got tattooed by you.
No.
My cousin was getting tattooed by him and a couple of our buddies. And then I ended up getting tattooed by Dave. And then I worked at, God, you'll remember this, on Hastings on the other side of the freeway or the highway in Burnaby, right on that main road. It was like a tiny little shop. Melissa.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was the. You worked for the transgender.
But
culture, right?
I was at that shop.
Yeah.
I don't think it was her shop.
Oh, okay.
What's her last name? Tulloch?
Yes.
Tulloch. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Trying
That's
to remember
what
that
it was.
Yeah,
And super nice. And I mean, it doesn't matter. I didn't care anyway. But I had no idea. And then you told me, I was like, oh, whoa,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, because she came when she left the Dutchman's. She came to Sacred Heart,
That's right.
and then we didn't have space.
Right.
And then she either opened a space or it was somebody else's.
What was
think
the name
it's-
of the shop?
I
totally
remember.
forget,
I was only
man.
there for like 2 weeks, and I literally sat on my
Because
ass.
I don't think that shop lasted very long.
It
did
did.
It was an old building. It was like some old rundown, like one of those old buildings
Yeah.
on Hastings and Boundary, I want to say it was.
Yeah.
Does anyone know what happened to?
Melissa Tulloch? I have no idea.
No,
It's always been one name from back then that I've never been able to like figure out what happened to her after.
and her work was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I remember being there and being like, holy shit, like very Dutchman-esque, right? Like,
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, this girl's really good. And there wasn't a ton of female tattooers, at least in Vancouver, that I knew.
Yeah.
And
No
then
female tattooers, and definitely no transgender
No,
female tattooers. Like,
Yeah,
she was a great tattooer.
Yeah, super nice. Like, she was super kind to me, and like she clearly knew I was nervous, right? Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
my first job in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Only tattooing for a couple of years, but I just couldn't. I couldn't even afford gas to get there because I like literally sat there every day. There was no walk-ins coming in. I'm just like,
That's a weird neighborhood for back then. Would have been
Yeah,
for tattoos
it was-
because
it was
wasn't
nothing
Vancouver
there.
wasn't hip out that far.
no, I mean,
You know?
Yeah.
we were living deep East Van. Like, we were in Kits first, and then I was in like Nanaimo and Hastings, basically.
Oh fuck, we were neighbors then.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah,
back then I was
like
I moved
Powell
into the
and-
city by then.
Triumph and Templeton, so like right there,
Oh, fuck,
Powell
yeah.
and Nanaimo, basically.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I left there. I went out to. I got recommended by a buddy of mine. Do you remember Jason? Jason, fuck, why am I spacing on his last name?
Because we're old and that's what happens.
He was living with your ex, Jason. Anyway,
Yeah.
he was a friend. He was from here, and he knew Trev, who was my guy or my friend, and he's like, "Yeah, this guy on White Rock is looking for an artist." I was like, "Holy fuck, that's far!" But I had a car, so I was like, "Whatever, I want to work. I want to be in a shop."
Yeah.
So I was driving out to this tiny little shop, and it was in the little where the WAG is there, where
Really?
Clint went
Yeah.
years later.
Oh, that's where Craftsman was.
It was, yeah.
But-
But Clint was around back. This was in the little.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that when I was working there.
Yeah, tiny little.
Who was the guy that owned it?
Don't remember. I literally worked for a weekend.
Okay.
I was there
the
for
same thing.
He was basically like, yeah, don't worry, there'll be walk-ins. Like, you'll be good. See, here's the key. See ya. And I'm just like, okay. It's like, well, you're a friend of so-and-so, so you're good. I'm like, oh, which I was good anyway. I would never do anything, but like,
Okay.
and I fucking sat there for 4 days straight. Not a single person walked through the door.
Oh,
I'm
fuck.
like, I'm paying fucking $40 in gas just to get there. And then right at that time, my friend Jason's like, hey, go see my buddy Ed in Delta. So Ed Holmes gave me a job at Liquid
at
Sliver.
the head.
Yeah. And so I was at Liquid Sliver for almost 3 years, 2.5 years.
R.I.P. at the head.
Yes, and he was like, I don't know what the word I want to use is, like super, super like quintessential to like my beginning of tattooing. I learned a ton of shit from him, needle making and like just how to like get by using, not buying everything from a tattoo supply place. You know, like he was that guy that like would make shit work or find where to get tube of clipcord sleeves and like
source it somewhere.
Yeah,
else.
like totally
Source it
like,
from the places where the supply company
exactly. Whereas like now it's like, you know, but he was the guy that told me where ink caps came from. You know, like I was like, holy shit, man! And I learned so much, and it was
funny story about ink caps. Sorry,
it's all right.
Someone at the shop was like, I need something to put in my fucking inks for when I travel, like on a plane and everything. I go to a convention, and they're like, bags are fucking. I'm like, use ink caps, and they're like, what do you mean?
Oh, let's stuff it in the
That's where they come from.
Yeah,
that's where that was their whole purpose.
Yeah, well, they were also from car part, like on the.
They were also for protecting internal threads of pipes when they're being shipped.
That's what I learned.
Yeah, so they were the internal caps for internal threads, where the other caps would be for the external threads.
For the red ones, the old school red orange, like reddish orange.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ed was the one that told me how to stop using a jig to make needles. I fucking all of it, like using a razor blade, and instead of like just so much. I learned so much, and I was super excited to be there. And it was busy. I was tattooing a ton, and I went from being like this kind of like not good beginner tattooer to like, okay, I'm a decent new tattooer now. And back then it was, you know, it was tough to become good. You know, like these kids now have everything at their fingertips to help them speed up their careers or whatever. And then I left for LA. I left for LA in 2000. I worked at, I don't know, 4 shops in LA. The first shop I went to in Hollywood was right on Hollywood Boulevard on the 101. And it was like, yep, you can work here. And it was 12 p.m. to 12 a.m., Monday to Friday, or Monday to Thursday, or whatever it was during the week. And then Friday, Saturday was 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. And I wasn't allowed to leave. And you sat there and you waited for everything. And it was insane.
He was in LA when we were in LA?
Yeah. He wasn't in town, though. He was on tour.
Gotcha.
Yeah, probably. Like, when were you guys there?
Recently. 2000s, but...
It would have been like 2005.
Oh, yeah. I was there, yeah. I probably was
5 or 6.
somewhere up in Edmonton, maybe, or whatever.
Yeah.
I worked at that shop. It was called Atomic Tattoo, oddly enough, and super great. It was like kind of my introduction to LA and like working on the boulevard, which I don't know what it would be compared to in like Toronto or something, or like even Vancouver, but kind of Granville. Like it was the Granville of, and it was insane, like insane. 2 a.m, like crazy people coming in and
rock stars. You tattooed me rock stars
later on, like as time got on. But like that first shop was
Hollywood people.
Yeah, it was more like club people, you know, like crazy Hollywood Boulevard, and it would be like the whole street would be packed with cars. Like that was when cruising was still a thing, right? So it would Friday, Saturdays, it would take you 3 hours to get 2 miles and back, because it's just everyone's just partying in their cars and clubs, and we were on the tail end of it, so we were right where the exit to the freeway was, and Hollywood Boulevard kind of started. So we were out of like the crazy tourist area, but that was insane. I mean, that was so much crazy partying going on, and like.
How are you still doing the band stuff when you're working those hours?
Or were you just band was the first band was done, and then my brother and I had started Time Is the Enemy.
Yeah.
And we were just like, it was like, okay, I'm going to LA to figure this out. Like it'll help us and try to plant the seed for the band and tattoo. And I had met a girl at the time, and so it was like, we're moving to LA. So yeah, I worked at that shop for a few years, and then I split, and I was tattooing out of my house. I had like a extra kind of like tiled room in my house that had a sink in it. And I worked there for a bit, and then started working in another shop called Broken Art, which Jeremy Swan, his name was. He was from Bay Area, like Carmel, I think, like up in that area. Super great tattooer, like neo-traditional stuff. Really great guy. I worked for him for a bit, and then I went to a super, super busy street shop in Studio City, and it was chaos, like so busy, making so much money, like working 4 days a week. And then it was just tough. It was like hard working for somebody like that. That was on their mind, right? So 2009, I'm like, fuck this. I'm opening my own shop.
Yeah.
6 months, built mine, and there I am. Now I'm just traveling and doing that. So
Yeah. And so do you still own Timeless?
I do. Yeah.
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 So well, like a Timeless Apprentice is like a super famous YouTuber.
Yeah. Well, she's not the apprentice anymore.
Oh, she's not. Is she still tattooing there or gone? No.
She. So that's a funny story.
She got famous and has a clientele. So
she basically, when I hired her because I needed a front counter person. So I hired her to be the front counter person, and that was fine. She was doing all that. I told her at the beginning, like, this isn't an apprentice position. I'm not in a place to hire an apprentice. Like, I'm in Canada and I'm coming back and forth a year to the day of her getting hired. She's like, I want an apprenticeship. I want it here. If you guys don't give it to me, that's okay, but I'm going to go search out an apprenticeship. Okay. Well, then I'm like, one of the other artists that was there was like, do you want to take this on? And we'll kind of split the duties.
Yeah.
She was a great girl. And
she was a good kind of person?
Yeah. I mean, she's
Are any of us
she's
good
a
counter
YouTuber.
I was a great counter person.
She wants to be
according to you.
She wants to be a YouTube star, right? Like that's her thing, and that's okay. Like it's just that generation of tattooers now, or that people that want to be tattooers. I think a lot of these younger people are in it for the wrong reason, right? And it's a really cool job, I mean, so I think for somebody in their late 20s, it's like, oh, I want to be a tattooer and a YouTube person and be on YouTube with my tattooing. So anyway, we took her on for apprenticeship, and then 2 weeks ago, she basically called me and said, I'm going to move I'm leaving. I'm taking my apprenticeship. I'm going to a different shop. Oh. So she basically went, I don't know if she went and searched for a different apprenticeship, or they sought her out, or maybe she just lied and is going to take a job at the shop.
Yeah, who knows?
Because like on their Instagram, it's now hiring. So I don't know.
That helps you get views. Maybe she created some drama to create.
Yeah, I mean, I learned early on, and we talked about this years ago, just about like not really worrying about what other people do and think. And I find that if you put energy into something like that, it just causes more problems.
Oh, absolutely.
I was like, are you sure you want to do this? Because you only have one opportunity to like, you want to sleep on it? No, I've made up my mind. I'm like, okay, good luck. Take your stuff.
Yeah.
Like, well, I can give you an extra couple of weeks and stay. I'm like, there's no point. Just go. It's all good. She's like, are you okay with that? I'm like, we'll be all right.
Yeah.
I've been here for fucking 16 years. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
So,
who knows? Did you move first or did your brother move first?
I moved. Jeff moved first. My cousin.
You're okay.
Yeah.
Who was it that so we were at the Croatian Cultural Center. We were seeing Orange 9mm.
That would have been Jeff.
He was out. That's right, Jeff. Yeah. And then they came to me. They needed somebody, and I was like, "This dude's awesome." And next thing I know, he's like, "Dude, they're taking me on tour."
Yeah. Like,
sweet. That would have favorite bands back.
Yeah. We talk about that. Like when I see him, we talk about that because that was basically what got him into and got me there too.
Yeah.
Right? Like was that tour for him because he did like those Western Canada shows.
Yeah.
And then
because I forget what happened. Like something happened with one of their people.
Yeah,
like,
couldn't get
across the border.
Yeah.
And I was like, this dude's awesome because I was tattooing at that show.
Yeah, that's right.
In the back fucking stage, surrounded by gear. I was doing a
tattoo. I've never heard this story before.
I don't. Because I have fucking too many.
I used to play Orange 9mm at the shop all the time.
Yeah. I forget who else was playing with them, but it wasn't Orange 9.
Was it Machine Head?
It might have been. It might have been Machine Head. Yeah, and they came to me and were like, they were complaining about something, and I'm like, this guy's awesome.
That's right, because we were at the show,
and they were like, fucking sweet. Yeah, that place smelled like fucking vomit. Yeah, it was so bad.
But funny about
that. I forget who I was tattooing. I was tattooing in the fucking setup area.
I did the same thing. I did it at the however many. So Jeff took that tour.
That's right. So then he ended up across the border.
Yeah, well, we following year, I think it was Ozfest 99. I think when Ozfest came to the Thunderbird Stadium in Vancouver, we all went to that, and Jeff and I met the guys in Slipknot, and then we hung out with them all day, and they were like, come to the Seattle or the Gorge. So it wasn't even in Seattle. We thought it was, but it was an extra 4 hours. And then that's kind of how we met the Slipknot guys, and then they came back through Croatian Cultural Center with Coal Chamber in 2000 or 99, late 99, November, and I ended up tattooing Sid from Slipknot and the guitar player from Coal Chamber at Croatian Cultural Center.
Nice.
In like the front foyer area.
I can't imagine either of those bands playing that small a venue.
Yeah, well, that was Coal Chamber. That was Slipknot's first tour.
That was like
after Ozfest.
Yeah, that was the thing, right?
Yeah.
Look, Slayer, Fear Factory,
so many.
and Monster Magnet together at Commodore.
Yeah, see, that's bizarre.
That was when before they closed for a while, right?
Yeah.
It was right before they closed.
Right before they closed
that's
for a
right.
while, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
That would have been obsolete. Fear Factor.
Yep,
And you were
obsolete.
tattooing these guys
Yeah,
too,
I was tattooing, and then I went on tour with them on the
Right.
East Coast.
Right.
And yeah, I remember just tattooing like in the dressing room, working on like Christian's back piece and shit. And then all of a sudden, like Tom Morea standing beside me drinking
So cool,
a tea.
dude.
It's just like, dude, it's Tom Morea. And
So cool.
I used to, those guys in Fear Factory used to always be bummed out because they'd be like, "What's your favorite song on the new album?" And I'd be like, "Oh, Dog Day Sunrise." They're like, "Fuck, that's a cover."
Yeah.
Right? Or I'd be like, "How come you never get excited when you see us?" But I get excited when I see like,
you're not Slayer.
yeah. Love those guys. I still talk to Christian.
It's
every once
funny
in a
too
while.
because
That's
Christian
like-
and I we were pretty good friends for a long time, and we still
Yeah.
are. I don't see him very much, but
Yeah.
like years later, right? And Burton's like a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He like came up and sang with us the last time we played the Whiskey, and like he's a big fan of the band and stuff. So it's just crazy small world. Like
Yeah.
even like just you and I alone, like the people that we've.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that whole Cold Chamber thing happened, and then I left that night. I jumped on Cold Chamber's bus and did like the rest of the West Coast tour, and that was kind of my like, oh, fuck, I want to go to LA, right? Like I was like, this place is awesome, and it isn't anymore. But then, as a 25-year-old kid, I was like, man, this is so cool. And,
Yeah.
I wanted to be in a band.
LA to you was what Vancouver was to me.
Or even
right?
Vancouver was that to me too when
Yeah.
I moved to Vancouver. But then Vancouver, it was like the next step up from
Yeah.
Vancouver musically, right?
Musically, exactly.
And there was just so much going on for tattooing. Like I went to the last year of the Ink Slingers Ball, which was I didn't realize then that it was going to be the last one. And I was like, man, I was pretty fortunate to get to go to that show because it was an unbelievable show. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows, most people know the history about that convention, but yeah, that was kind of it. Like, and then I just started tattooing all these bands, and I don't know, like it just kind of stuck it out, and then the music, like the new band, started taking off, and so I just been like,
cool.
Kind of
There was a TV show filmed at your shop too, wasn't there?
a few of them, a couple porns and TV shows.
Well, I don't know. No, but I mean, like there was like a tattoo reality show. Wasn't there a tattoo reality show filmed out of your show, like with a piercer and shit? Or was that a different?
No, he works at my shop. He worked at a different shop at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was a shop on Coenga Boulevard, which is not far.
Because I don't remember what it was. It was like
Yeah,
a late night like
Tattoos After Dark.
MTV thing. Yeah, Tattoos After Dark. And I'm
Two
like,
guys that
what
work
the
for me.
fuck is this?
Yeah, two guys that work for me. Great dudes. The piercer's still with me. He's an
Yeah.
awesome guy, but they just got offered. They all worked at different shops. This company put together this tattoo shop.
Yeah.
And it was at a really nice shop that it was called like Ink Candy or something. So something really stupid. But they put together this
reality show.
fake
It's a
tattoo
studio.
shop.
They built
Yeah,
a studio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was basically like all the people coming in to get tattooed.
To get tattooed after night.
after clubbing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then so two of them, one of the tattoo artists worked for me for a couple of years, and then the piercer. And it was chaos, dude. Like these girls were like kids were coming in to like just to see them and like get a photo with them, crying, and like it was just insane. And I'm just sitting there, yeah, exactly.
That was like when we were at High Voltage, man, visiting Dennis
same
Hallbritter.
shit, right?
Oh,
Same
yeah.
shit.
Fuck, people just coming in and dropping so much money just to buy a bunch of shirts and,
And
stuff.
they
it's
think
like,
that it's the same people that are on the show, and like it's just a tattoo shop. Right?
I remember we walked in and we're like, what the fuck? Like, we were just like two tattooers, like,
Yeah, totally.
and from Canada, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
walk in, we're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Walk up to the counter, like, and super pro counter people, right? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
sellers,
weird.
right?
At least you guys got that because it was roll of the dice with that place for a long time. Like you go in and someone would just be like, "What do you want?"
oh, 100%.
Shit,
Totally.
right?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
so I want to know who you tattooed. Like,
Um,
let's drop some names.
I
Like,
tattooed
fucking,
Howard Stern.
no
I
shit.
tattooed Howard Stern and his wife. Would have been 2012, I think. One of my clients, a really good client of mine, was a carpenter on like TV shows, movie sets, and stuff like that. And he was the carpenter on Howard's wife had a show called like Woman Caves, or like basically like women building a woman cave instead of a man cave. So she had this show on like the Homegrown Network or something. He was the guy building all the stuff in it. And he called me one day. I was leaving for Australia the next day, and he's like, "Hey man, I know you're leaving, but you want to tattoo like one of my boss?" Basically, I was like, "Who?" Like, you know, like I'm leaving. It's like it's Howard Stern. I was like, "Yeah." Because the shop was, I think, closed the next day or something. Like I think I was closing the shop because I was leaving or something. I was like, "Yeah, for sure, we'll come in." And they came in. It was Howard and his wife and his limo driver. Ronnie, I guess. But I've never been a Howard Stern fan. I don't know anything about him other than that one movie that came out in the 90s.
Well,
Private Parts or
Private Parts, yeah.
So I think that might have been one of the reasons why he was like really, really, really cool with me and super nice. And they were there for like 6 hours all day.
Wow.
I covered up his ex's name on his ring finger, I think, and their bulldog had passed away, and his new wife, so I did a little paw print with their dog's name on both of them. And then his limo driver ended up getting tattooed by another one of my artists. And honestly, it was like one of the nicest people I've ever met. Like, super cool. Like, kind of gave me faith in that whole, rich people, or not rich people, but like that famous people. Yeah. He was just like, he didn't want to talk about himself. He was like asking me questions, and like, he really reminded me of my oldest brother, just kind of like super tall, lanky, like big nose. Like, he was just like, he reminded me of a Canadian guy, right? Like a cool, like old, like headbanger from the 80s.
Cool.
Right? Like, super nice dude.
Who else? I want to know. Like,
tattooed. I mean, a bunch of bands. Like, I tattooed the guys from Slipknot, and Cold Chamber, and Spine Shank.
There's probably like 100 tattooers in there that would fucking die
Probably,
right now.
Yeah, probably. Like, there was a lot back in the day, like In This Moment, and the guy from Coldplay who comes into my shop to get pierced, Chris Martin. Is that who it is? Yeah. I tattooed Adrienne Curry. She was the winner for America's Next Top Model, the very first one. She was married to the Brady Bunch guy. I tattooed Trace Cyrus, which is Miley Cyrus's little brother.
Oh, cool.
Or older brother, sorry.
Cool.
I did his first tattoo on him, and I did his first tattoo, and then he came back like 6 months later, and he was fucking covered. Yeah, he went like, got the hook, got
Matt Child. I did Matt Child's first tattoos.
That's right, yeah.
And then he got tattooed by, I don't know how many people, but so much tattooing at the first Vancouver convention, because I remember seeing him and I was just like,
Bob Tyrell was tattooing with the shop afterwards.
Yeah, did his like fucking pecs and stuff, got his arms done, back,
There's a funny story about the Cyrus family, because they would all come in because Billy Ray was getting tattooed by one of my coworkers, and the whole family would come in, and he always had this big fucking tumbler full of ice and whatever drink he was drinking, and they would all like go over to the corner and like huddle and do prayer. It's crazy, like super weird shit. Like, I don't want to, like, I'm not talking shit. Like, it's their business, whatever. Like,
that's an observation.
Their religion. That's fine. But like, she was.
But that's kind of a weird place.
Like,
it's like, we have to pray before you get tattooed so you don't get sepsis. And
I don't know if it was
they're like, these Satanists are in here. We need to protect ourselves.
Or that.
I don't know if it was more just like, we're a family, let's get together, have a huddle and a powwow, or if it was like prayer time or whatever. But like, they were super nice people. But they're just very like not demanding, but they just expect a lot from people, right? And they, they're so used to having yes people around, right? So like, I'm not.
Yeah, we started getting that a lot at Sacred Heart, right? Just people, because we were the place to go.
Yeah.
So I remember we get like band managers calling. So and so needs to get tattooed. We were like, we don't give a fuck.
Yeah, so
like,
so and so.
The dude from Everclear is like demanding to get tattooed, and we're like, no, we don't have time for you.
Yeah.
Then they were like, oh well, we saw somebody wearing a hoodie. It was the Tattoos Get You Sex hoodie, and it's like, we haven't had those for years.
Yeah.
Well, does anybody at the shop have one? Whatever his name is, the singer of Everclear will wear it during the concert. It's like,
Everclear,
we don't.
Okay, I thought you meant Everlast.
No, Everclear. We're like, we don't need him to wear our hoodie on stage.
Yeah, we're good. Totally. Clearly, we don't need it. You're calling here.
Apparently, you need us.
Yeah. And you know what's fucking crazy? So at that show, somebody threw a water bottle at him, a plastic one.
Right.
And he ended up kicking somebody in the face.
Oh, fuck.
It was a girl. He kicked a girl in the face.
Jesus.
At the front of the stage at the Vancouver show, and I was like, imagine if he was wearing Sacred Heart shit.
Shit,
like,
right?
Fuck that guy.
Totally.
That made the paper the next day, and I was like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Dude from Queens of the Stone Age kicked a girl I know in the face. Photographer, good friend of mine, actually.
My favorite band in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know him. I've never
I don't
met
either.
him. I've heard mixed things about him, but he's just that guy, right? Like, gets fucked up, and I guess she's a photographer, and she was in the photo pit, and
too close.
Whatever. Maybe she
I remember hearing about this.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about the backlash that they were getting on tour after that.
Yeah, because like she came into the shop like a couple of days later, fucking black eye, and chipped her tooth, and broke all her camera gear, and for like no reason. I think maybe she had permission to take more than 3 songs, and he didn't know.
Oh fuck.
So she was in the pit for longer than, because normally it's like 3 songs and then everyone has to go. So I think that's what it was. And he's just like fucking booted her camera and it just like smashed her in the face. It was pretty fucked up.
No need for that.
But that's back to what I'm saying about some of these famous people are just like, oh, I can do whatever I want. You know?
Yeah.
Like, so like, I don't know. I kind of,
Who else? Go on.
I'm
sorry, but we haven't asked anyone this question.
There
before.
wasn't much for me, you know, like
Wasn't much.
It was like,
It sounds like
like for a long time, it was like, it was like, that's what I want. I want to tattoo bands. And it was like super cool. I got in Revolver.
I was right there with you, buddy.
Right. And I was like, also one thing that I looked up to you about, I was like, fuck, Shawn's tattooing all these bands that lake. And I was like, damn it. Like, you know, like, I'm like, how do I do this? And like, and for me, it was more like, that would have been my way into like being in
Into
bands
music.
musically.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then when I got hooked up with the Slipknot guys and Cold Chamber, and I was really close with the Cold Chamber, still am to this day, it was just like, okay, cool. But then, that luster kind of wears off. It's just like, they're just normal fucking dudes like us.
exactly.
Right.
Did your
And
brother work for Powerman 5000?
Nope.
No?
No.
Oh, for some reason I thought you worked for Powerman.
No,
That's
my
a
brother
flash
is
from the past.
my brother's a graphic artist. He's doing graphics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just actually works for the whiskey now. He just got a new job.
Oh, really?
All the graphics for the Whiskey Go-Go and
Cool.
Roxy and Rainbow.
Oh, sweet.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
so-
watched a great documentary on
Yeah,
that.
the Sunset Strip one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Maguilari family, they're dear friends of ours. So,
And what's Jeff doing now?
Jeff is still in LA. He's got he does audio, like post-production audio for like TV shows, reality shows.
Cool.
So he's doing all the mixing.
Jeff, reach out. We need help.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, he would.
Totally.
Yeah, for sure. he will.
Even just to fucking learn about a better setup for this, because
Can we
our
ask you a
audio is
question?
horrible.
100% he'll help you out.
Yeah.
For sure. I'll give you his number. For sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Great.
He's been doing that for years, and then he opened during the pandemic. He got super busy because a bunch of the bigger places shut down. They couldn't have people in their studios, so he was on his own. He was just like he was working at a place and taking all these side gigs. And
Sweet.
did really well. Yeah,
Awesome.
They opened their own.
Cool.
He's doing that now, and he's doing data storage. He's like got this big
Servers.
unit, and he's got all these servers in it, and he's just fucking file transferring. So like if a TV show in New York needs their shit sent to
Yeah.
stored, and that's 100% his. It's crazy. Like fucking Jeff, right? Like
Cool.
fucking Jeff is killing it. So it's
Yeah,
rad.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so he's still down there. Britt's still down there. You remember Britt, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Britt is working for the same music cartridge company that he was doing.
Cool, man. Yeah, you guys all crossed the border and fucking
Yeah,
made it.
yeah. And I was like, as soon as the pandemic happened, I'm like, I'm fucking out of here. As soon
Yeah.
as COVID hit, I was
Yeah,
like,
you guys were shut down for a long
dude, it was a year. And they were like, we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah,
I was like,
and you guys got $1,000. Not $1,000 a month.
oh no, it was
Like people got like
yeah,
$1,000.
I had to apply for a loan, like a personal loan, just to cover the bills for like a shop. And luckily, I had 2019 was like one of our best years that I'd had since I opened the shop. And so luckily, I had savings. And I remember when they were like, "Yeah, you guys can't open anymore. You can't tattoo. It went to appointment only,
Yeah.
or whatever." And they were like, "No more." I was like, well, "Do you have any idea when we're going to build?" "No, maybe August." I'm like, "It's March." I'm like,
Maybe August.
That was the answers I was getting. And defense to them, they had those people had
no one
no clue.
had
They were just answering
Yeah.
the phones, right? And so anyway, and I heard that we knew that BC was opening up when it was opening, and Edmonton as well. So I was like, fuck, I'm out of here. My dad's got dementia, and mom was struggling with that. So I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of LA for a while. And
Yeah.
I go back. I've always wanted to go back to BC after for the last 10 years or so, I've been contemplating it. And I'm like, this is kind of like the push that I needed.
Yeah. So do you have a partner in the LA shop then that takes
No,
care
it's
of
still
your way?
mine. It's just
Still
it's
yours? You just
100%
have a
mine.
good manager
Yeah, I just
then?
have a good crew, right?
Yeah.
And it runs itself basically, right?
Yeah,
So some ups and downs here
Of
and there,
course.
but
Yeah.
how it goes.
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's great.
It's been good. Yeah.
Cool.
Pretty
Where
fortunate.
can everybody find you? And also, we didn't touch on it, but All Hail the Yeti.
Yes.
Been doing tours. That's his
Yeah.
newest band.
That's been it feels like it's the newest. but
Not the newest band, but it's
Yeah,
been
it's been-
a long time. Like
Yeah.
Dino actually fucking
Yeah.
did stickers for you way back.
Yeah,
in the day
yeah,
and shit.
he's a
Like,
good dude.
yeah. So, anyways, tell everybody where they can find you and where they can hear
the
your
shop
music.
is Timeless Tattoo LA. Mine personal is Connor Cade. Instagram is all I really use.
Yeah.
The band is All Hail the Yeti. All you have to do is search that, and it's
Cool.
everything's there. Yeah, man, it's been great. It's
Awesome.
so good to fucking
Man.
fucking
Really good
sit
to
down
catch
with
up
you,
for
yeah.
sure, buddy. You got my number.
Yeah, and it was like
You know?
randomly saw you that
was great getting to know Curly and this amazing guy that tattooed with one arm. You know, the customer had to stretch his own skin.
So I did get blood poisoning from him twice. Yeah, twice.
Ed Hardy brought this whole Japanese influence into American tattooing.
Once Dave Shore come onto the scene, it was like tattooing completely changed.
If anybody could say anything about greaseball Japanese, it's fucking Dave Shore.
Salty, piratey, bikery, just hard not to do.
Man, he'd pull in on his chopper with the tattoos and the girls, and I mean, he was just like so cool, man.
He captured vulgarity and pleasure and insanity and recklessness.
Tattooer in the 80s or 70s, just not the same, yeah, you had to be a tough guy.
I was scared shitless. Even though I was kind of a biker guy, these were bigger biker guys, you know?
I'm not totally sure you could paint the picture accurately to somebody now getting into tattooing about what it was like then. And the only reason I would say, or I feel that way, though, is because they might not believe you.
We had the limo waiting for him with all the lines of blow lined up at the airport. This is the way we do it in Canada.
In like 80s, 90s, Paul Jeffries was like the king of tattooing. It wasn't just in Canada.
Like, am I supposed to stop tattooing? Because if this is what I'm supposed to aspire to, it's not gonna happen.
Each one of these old masters influenced groups of tattooers, who in turn influenced other groups of tattooers.
How's the show going for you?
Good. Yeah, it's good. We just did 3 hours.
Yeah.
On his ribs yesterday, so that was that.
Well, that's they're in Lethbridge.
Yeah,
your shirt.
Chance.
He worked with you for a bit, right?
Yeah. A couple of years.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's doing good.
That tattoo you're working on this morning is fucking awesome.
Oh, thanks, man.
You made a fucking name for yourself for that subject matter. I mean, I don't know what other way to say it.
He's the godfather of geek, the godfather of nerd.
Yeah, I know. That's funny. I have a little a name tag that somebody made me in my station because I was like, Shawn called me the godfather of nerd tattooing, and I'm like, I'm proud of that.
That was in Montreal, like a while ago, I think that was.
Yeah.
I remember all the Star Wars tattoos coming out and all the other stuff. And I always wonder, like, how much of that is he doing like full time? Is he doing tattoos like we do? And then it's like, I've never seen a tattoo by you, or when I've seen you working, that is anything other than that.
I do other stuff, not as much as what I used to. I mean,
you do a lot of fantasy stuff too, not just like.
Yeah, I do.
Not just pop culture nerd stuff, like you do like fantasy stuff.
D&D nerd stuff.
D&D nerd. Yeah, different kind of nerd stuff though, right? Not all Star Wars guys are into D&D and stuff. You're a little more well-rounded of a nerd.
Yeah, and then they're like, okay, well, I'd like this. And I'm like, okay, well, let's do it like this to make it nerdy.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
Or there's other people in the shop that can do it. Like, no, I'm lucky now because I've been doing it for so long that I can. People are gravitating towards me to do that. So
yeah, is that something you always wanted? Like, was that in your back pocket already? Like, you were. I don't want to say you were a fucking geek or a nerd or something.
Oh, I was.
But that was you're a collector. You like that.
Oh,
shit,
you should
right?
see my house. I have two. I actually have 2 rooms. I have 2 offices at home. So the joke is I even collect offices. And we call them an office, but really it's just this nerd space. I mean, the walls are covered with collections, and it spews out. My wife is just like, Jesus, what the hell? When does this end? And I'm like,
it doesn't.
Well, I'm 51. How many more years do I have left? So I'm like, until then.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I have a crazy collection. But I didn't ever think it would spill over into my tattooing. Like originally tattooing at Smiling Buddha for so many years, the armbands and
Well, I remember the Japanese stuff you were doing back then.
Yeah,
it was like super dope. Like, but I haven't seen anything like that from you since.
Yeah, I wish I could do more. I mean, I love tattooing water. It's actually, if I could choose one thing to tattoo, I'd probably say water.
Yeah,
not Darth Vader.
I love water.
And
yeah,
I love water, and then after every time I tattoo water, I'm so disappointed in it, and then I get to do it again, and I'm like, gonna make up for the last one.
Well, it is so amazing what you can do with water. You can do like every wave is different.
Yeah,
every wave has its own life.
I was so fortunate when Bill left Sacred Heart
and then I kind of became like the water guy somehow.
Oh, perfect.
So I got to do so many water sleeves, or like tribal with water, or biomech with water, or just Japanese with water, or just water and blue. So much blue water.
I want to start doing blue water again.
So do I actually, because I actually have Mickey Sharp's powder that I mixed.
Oh,
and
really?
I want to go back to that old.
I miss Mickey Sharp's.
Yeah.
I had the red, they can stand it out of the cup, like soft serve.
yeah.
And you get, the best way to learn the tattoo is with Mickey Sharp's powder, because if you can get that, and you can get anything in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then 30 years later, I've seen some of that red. It still looks good.
Yeah.
I'm
still mixing powders.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I just gave Gagne a liter of white the other day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive.
You know how the shit separates? It was like this much medium in there.
Ryan's like, how is it? And I'm like, well, I haven't looked at it. I'm like, that's it settled. So it's pigment heavy. So you can definitely thin it out if you want.
Yep.
You can do whatever you want with it. So it's just,
When Brooklyn Smiling Buddha, Paul would mix his own, but he would never let us watch.
Oh, really?
Never.
Did he ever?
Never.
Even
Never.
Never.
I asked him. 10 years, I was like, Paul, he's like, I'm mixing on the weekend. I'm like, can I come in and watch? He's like, no. If I catch you near the shop, I'll fire you.
Wow.
Pretty much, yeah.
So then he never told you where he got his powder from, probably?
No, it was national.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But
he just wasn't telling your mix.
No, he wouldn't.
Wild.
Yeah, he wouldn't share secrets. And we had to use his inks.
Yeah.
So like even when
he shared that with Trev.
Yeah.
How to mix?
Yeah.
Well, maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Trev mistake. But he was going back to Australia.
Yeah, he's halfway around the world. So
he opened across town. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we might as well get on that. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Give us a brief introduction and who you are.
I'm Brett Schwint, tattooing almost 31 years, and I own Strange World Tattoo.
In Calgary, Alberta.
And
we're at the Calgary Tattoo Show.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. How's the show going for you?
Good. Yeah, it's
good. Your backyard. So
it's my backyard. I prefer doing shows less.
Yeah.
But as for backyard, it's easy.
You're in the head.
Well, I was going to say you're in a horrible booth, so I can see why you would not want to be here.
No,
named Trevor McStay.
Yeah, I'm sitting there trying not to sweat the whole time.
Well, those two went through a breakup, right? So you're in between.
Yeah, you're in between them.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny. And hearing Trevor bust his balls the whole time.
Oh, he did in his interview too.
Did he? Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, it was good. Yeah, I talked with Henning a little bit there, and when I got to meet him, and he was like, he's full of shit.
Just the first thing,
And I'm like, well, you got to come on the podcast and fucking, because it's all going to be on the internet. And Julia's like, and once it's on the internet, it's true.
I remember hearing about Henning and their breakup years ago.
Yeah. Where he started dating Mike Rubendahl.
Yeah.
So,
and
awesome. Where did you get your start?
I started with a guy named Little Vic in Calgary.
Oh, shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And apprenticed with him for 8 hellish months. And he threw a tube at the back of my head one day, and then I left. And that was
that was not a plastic tube with a rubber grip?
No. And it was like missed me by 2 inches and packed my shit up and left. And then from there, I went on and opened up Eternal Image Tattoo with my dad, actually, because he had money. I didn't. I was a young kid, 93, so I was 21 years old. My dad had money, just retired, opened up a tattoo shop right downtown Calgary, 17th Ave. Worked over there for a couple of years, and
then who joined you there?
Dustin came numerous times. Who else came and worked there? Not many. Dustin. I can't remember. Oh, Scott. I guess I trained Scott.
I was going to say,
I was like,
we're missing a bit of a.
Yeah.
Dave is over here like having a brain seizure.
I'm like, wait,
You're in a shop called Eternal Image in Calgary, but there is one.
Well, I probably heard the story, but the way my brain works, it's like it gets filed like over there.
Okay, so I had a shop for a couple of years, and then I was getting tattooed by Paul, and Dustin was up there, but Dustin had been at my shop a bit, so we knew each other. There was a connection there, and then I went up to get tattooed by Paul, and Paul eventually knew that Dustin was leaving, so he said, "You want a job?" And so then but it was like 6 months or something. So Scott had been coming in numerous times asking me if I would train him, and I was like, no. I was green. I'd only been tattooing a couple of years, if that, a couple of years at that point.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm not capable of training you. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. Like trying to undo what Vic taught me already. So it's like, so finally, and I needed somebody. Couldn't leave my dad hanging. So called, I guess we got a hold of Scott and said, sure. And
What a legacy that is, though. Like, talk about having an apprentice when you're that green that ends up being
so
who
good.
he is, right?
Yeah,
Like,
so good.
Yeah. Another one of those names that a lot of people watching this will still be like, who the fuck is that? But
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
totally.
Yeah, it was like Jordan Ripstra from Classic Tattoo. She came, her very first convention was Saskatoon, and Veldone was there. She's like, I think I might get tattooed. I'm like, you need to get tattooed by Veldone. She's like, who is that? And I'm like, just go look at his work. She came back, she's like, I'm getting tattooed by Scott this afternoon.
Yeah. And it was amazing, I bet.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right. It was a bird. So it was perfect.
Yeah. He's probably, like you said, technical. He's probably one of the most technical tattooers, perfectly tattooed technical guys I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I sure didn't teach him that.
Yeah.
He learned that all on his own.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
And it's just the way his brain works, right? Like,
yeah,
he's definitely methodical and like, I don't know if goal oriented is the right word, but it's like, you can tell if he wants something, he's going to do it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
So then you left essentially your dad's shop and went to go with Paul.
Right.
And then did that stress your relationship with your dad?
Yeah. Working for the competition.
The short answer, we didn't talk for 11 years.
Really?
Yep. So there was other stuff.
Of
involved,
course, it's going to
this-
be other things.
But this
I
was
mean,
kind of like the final.
Yeah.
And
This was a lot bigger than buying the drum set that got pushed into the corner and collected dust. This was
Yeah, there was other issues,
Yeah.
but we had a falling out, and we were super, super stubborn people, and we didn't talk for 11 years. So.
Was your dad involved in tattooing in any other aspect before that?
No.
Okay.
No. He just, like I said, he's a front man.
Yeah.
So
then Scott eventually just bought him out, I guess.
my dad actually and Scott were co-owners for, I think 5 or 6, maybe 7 years. My dad still, and then finally I think Scott said, listen, it's like, I got to do my own thing.
Yeah, this doesn't make sense to have you a part of it.
It doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense, honestly. And honestly, I shouldn't say anything, but it's like 2 years working 50-50 with your dad, and he's sitting there, playing video games on the computer while I'm like doing all the other shit. And I'm like, and he's just like, you put up the money, but it's stuff that split it.
Yeah, totally. Well, for sure.
And those days it was like you had to work 12 hours a day because it was like,
Absolutely. That was the same with, so we went through a period at Sacred Heart where it was a non-tattooer owner, and they were not a good counter person. Not Glenn. Not Blair. They were not that great, but so they didn't contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they were a great counter person and they really brought it, right? And because a great counter person will bring people into the shop and they will book appointments, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like,
Totally
why am
true.
I fucking paying you?
Yeah.
Why? Like at the end of the day, he's like, "Hey, see ya!" Ding! You hear the cash drawer open and the fucking taking of the money, and it's just like, not cool, man. Like if you're going to be an owner in a tattoo shop and you're not physically tattooing, you need to be bringing it some
gotta
other
contribute
way.
something.
Yeah, totally.
You just do,
Yeah.
So wow, I didn't know that part of that. That's fucking. Yeah, we're definitely going to be having a long form with you to reach back into all of this stuff. But,
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Crazy.
This is too short a format for your history.
Yeah. I knew it would be, but I saw that you were putting out two. Me and Dave both kind of wanted to be done, and we're like, we need to do one more. And I saw you unwrapping your tube, and I'm like, fuck, we're getting.
Yeah.
Oh,
And also
thanks,
because I
guys.
saw you at the bar the other night at the documentary, and I was just like chatting, and then it's like you get
There's a million
fucking
things. Yeah.
million things going on. I turned around, I was like, oh, he's gone. And then I even said to Julie the next day, I'm like, I wanted to talk to him more. That it was just like, fucking these things. As soon as I walked in this morning, I'm like, I'm already done.
Yeah, it's long for you guys. It's long for everybody.
No, but it's fucking busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's huge. Like, that's a 650 artists is in 2 rooms.
Henning said it's the biggest one he's ever been to.
It's
and
insane.
he's been to
all of them.
All of them.
Yeah, the important ones. Yeah. Like
All of
the
them.
last one that I did in Calgary, it was like his biggest ever. It was like 400 and a little bit.
Wow.
And that was big, but it also wasn't busy,
No.
right? Like there was a lot of tattooers, but there was not a lot of people.
I wonder what the difference is this year.
This one is fucking busy.
Yeah, the venue's fucking great too. Like,
Yeah.
like as far as convention halls go, like it's pretty easy to walk around it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool the way they actually have the aisles numbered and named. And, that's
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
That's cool.
Scott
That's
just pointed that out to me like before we
Julia. Well, we were looking for somebody. Julia's like, everybody's name's on a board right there. I was just like, yeah. Of course, the millennial season. But anyways,
Well, you worked with Paul for over 10 years?
No, just under 10
Just
years.
under 10 years?
Just try.
So we'll just kind of skip past this because I do
Sure.
want to do a long form with you or whatever, right?
Okay,
And then
sure.
you opened up Strange World
Mm-hmm.
with your best friend. I'm kidding. Just kidding.
I'm like, hold on a sec. Who was that? In those years, I was an asshole. I didn't have many friends.
We were just making fun of him, actually, because his brother was on.
Yeah.
Steve. Yeah. So.
Yeah. We just seemed like a good idea. He had this show and but we don't. When we do the other format, because I have a lot to say. Steve and I have a really interesting interwoven history. So
yeah, what year was that? Because I lived in Calgary when it happened. It was 2008, 2006.
2006.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I was in Calgary in 2006.
Yeah,
I remember when that shop opened and work started coming out of the shop. It was just like, holy fuck.
From Strange World?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, yeah, because it was you, Rick, and Heather.
Yeah.
Like right out the gate.
It was just like
fuck that shop.
And then Craig did a stint. Craig Fenrick, and we've had lots of good artists. But and then Steve and I just didn't jive well.
Well, yeah, no.
I liked the Smiling Buddha method of actually being busy and making money, and Steve liked the opposite.
He's the artist.
Yeah.
Right? You're the tattooer.
Yeah.
Right? So, and again, just goes back to whether you're a tattooer or not a tattooer, you don't need a business partner.
No.
In a tattoo shop.
No, honestly.
You need one captain.
Yeah.
And
It's true.
you need a good one.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that what you're referring to with Paul is that school of Dustin talked about this all the time. This is the way Paul does things, like financially, and this is how he sets it up, and this is how you run a business. And I'd never heard of that in any shop I'd ever worked in.
So I think we're the only shop in the city still that I'm still using Paul's system.
Yeah, I wish I knew his system.
I can
honestly,
teach it.
yeah,
I can teach you shit.
Yeah,
I'd like to.
Good luck changing it with your artists. But
I'll just fire them all.
Oh, perfect. Can I help?
I'll just let you call them. Okay. Just pull a fake when he came back from Japan and fired everybody, and everybody was like, "What?" And then like a few days went by, and he was like, "Okay, if this many of you stay, I'll keep Counter Girl. If this many of you stay, but this is how it's going to be moving forward: chair rental, and it's going to be this much. This is what's going to." And he's like, "Funny how all of a sudden these fucking kids can make a lot of fucking money when you let them keep it."
Yeah. Well, now I think it's the opposite, though. That's mentality's changed so much.
Well, but you also have shops now that are doing such a low chair rental
$750
that they don't have to work hard.
Yeah.
They have to work hard enough.
Well, and I think a lot of them, if you're young, we remember being young. Where
totally,
if you're living in a house with 6 other people, and your rent's fucking low, or you're living with your parents still, and your fucking hobby is playing video games or something that doesn't cost thrifting, doesn't cost a lot of fucking money.
I never had that though. Like I lived in Vancouver, and my rent in 1998 was $1,900.
Wow.
Right, for a 2-bedroom apartment. Me and my piercer best friend Tim, we had an apartment on Davie Street, $1,900 a month rent plus utilities. But he was a piercer and I was a tattooer, and we both liked to fucking party. So it was like,
you had expensive habits, so you fucking worked your ass off.
So we worked our fucking asses off. Because if you had a slow day and then your friends are like, "Oh, we're going out to the bar tonight. So-and-so DJ's in town." It's like, I don't have any money.
Yeah.
How lame you sounded back then.
And now.
Right?
More now.
What? Fuck not. No way. People, Kevin messaged me yesterday. He's like, "Oh, you coming to the show?" And I'm like, "I'm in bed." It was 9:30.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, "Lucky."
Trevor came up to me last night. He's like, "Hey, can I walk to the hotel? How far is it?" And I'm like, "It's like 8:30. I'm like, "I'll drive you." Like, and that was my out.
Yeah. Gotta go.
Yeah. Perfect. I'm like, "Thank you." And I'm doing him a big favor, but I'm like, yes, thanks.
I was out of here. I got tattooed last night, and I didn't get out of here till it was 10 to 11. And I couldn't believe it. I looked at my watch. I was like, what the fuck happened? It was 6 o'clock, like the last time I looked at my watch. And then I was so wired from being in here, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah, I've been like that last couple nights too.
Yeah.
Well, because I want to do a long form one, but I still want to make this interesting. What was your first convention you ever did?
This hasn't been interesting up to this point.
No, I mean more. It's like more. No,
supply more of this next time. I'll be more
this is interesting for us, but it's not really tattoo related, right? This is like 3 friends talking.
Okay, so first convention was Seattle, the tattoo tour in '95,
and that would have been with Paul.
No, but that was not with Paul. But I went from Eternal Image and knowing Paul.
Oh, okay.
So,
Paul
actually Paul had started my arm, and so yeah, we knew each other, and he was kind of one who said, "Oh, there's this convention and whatever." So I was like,
Yeah.
cool. And we drove with a couple of drunken buddies and stopped, and yeah, it was fun.
What year? So wait, what year did you start at Smiling Buddha?
96.
Oh,
End of 96.
So just after. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't know I was starting there yet because it would have been like, wow, it's completely different. So then the next convention was Miami Tattoo Tour, and I knew that I was going up to Buddha. So it was like I was really pushing myself. I had tons of drawings, and like it was a completely different experience.
Yeah, you really pushed yourself at those conventions early on, eh?
Yeah.
So and then joining Paul.
Yeah.
All conventions. Lots of traveling.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. You say that, but it was then. It was like there wasn't that many conventions, so it was like
Yeah,
we would do the two big ones in the States, whatever, the National and the Tattoo Tour. Yeah. But it's not like everybody now. You say like, oh, I did lots of conventions. I used to do 2 a year, but people are like, look at Bob Terrell, 36 in 1 year.
I would say, yeah. What did Tex say he did? Same,
12.
right?
No, he said 12.
Or 12.
And it was just like, and he's on a week out of every month. Like,
yeah.
Bob, seriously, the other 20 weeks had to be travel weeks.
Yeah. Well, remember when the Tattoo Tour actually was like a tour?
Yeah.
And there was guys that were always on that thing.
And
like they had no shop.
Yeah.
Right. But that was just building their names. And I so regret not having the balls to do that back then, man. Like
they were, the National was really, really good, but those National, the first Tattoo Tour were the best. You get all the big European guys. There was like Bernie Luther, all those guys were there. But it was just mind blowing.
Yeah.
And like Paul Booth was going to them. And,
it was like waiting for the magazines because you knew the Tattoo Tour episode or issue was coming out. It was like, who was there? Yeah. Who was letting their work getting photographed and stuff too? Because a lot of guys, when they were traveling and stuff, they weren't submitting a lot of work. So a lot of the work was being photographed at these shows and stuff. I remember seeing like little. You could barely see Chris Conn work. You could barely see Patrick Conlon work. So I remember going to the first New York convention and actually watching Patrick tattoo. And I go to take a picture, and he's like, whoa, what are you doing with that photo? And I'm like, oh, I just tattooed a Sacred Heart. And my buddy Eric was like, oh, he's with me. And he's like, as long as you're not like publishing that, you can have a picture. So I have pictures of Patrick Conlon tattooing this guy's fucking side and stuff. And I was just like, oh, so fucking cool. Yeah.
I worked in Vancouver for 10 days with Vic. I slept in the shop, Anarchy Inc.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I should probably say this because it's a really good story. You say this stuff or like?
Actually, you know what? Do this one.
Okay.
Because we'll do this as like a side stories pre-release.
Okay, so Vic knew the owner of Anarchy Inc. and all the artists got up and left at one point or whatever. So Vic was like, hey, you want to go with me to Vancouver? I'd done maybe 50 tattoos. Fuck yeah. But then driving with Vic, did you guys know Vic?
No.
He was
know the name, but never met.
He was a mess.
Dude, still to this day, I've never met Paul.
What?
Paul Jeffries?
He's here.
I know.
You've never met Paul Jeffries?
Yeah, actually, I met him once very briefly. So here's just a quick side story. I was driving across Canada with Bill Baker.
That sounds like fun.
He stopped 6 blocks away from the shop, and he was like, you got 15, because I said I wanted to see the shop.
Yeah.
And he's like, you got 15 minutes, and I'm leaving you. So I had to run back 6 fucking blocks to run into the shop to buy a T-shirt. And I bought the dragon with the sunglasses and the cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking drove Bill crazy because I immediately put it on and jumped back in the fucking car and drove across Canada. So so that was like the super brief encounter that I had with Paul. I've met him like kind of briefly more, but never like actually I've never shaken his hand formally. I've spoken in the same circle as him. Classic Tattoo, other things. Yeah, it's just one of those weird things.
It just never happened.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, go on.
Okay, so anyway, so the drive was a nightmare to begin with because Vic is such a mess and it's beat up old pickup. Arms through the steering wheel, smoking joints the whole time. like through like the kicking or like Golden and all that, like through the tunnels and shit. And I'm sitting there I'm like 21. I'm just like, you want me to drive? Like, it doesn't know. He's like, nah, fuck, I'm driving. I'm a good driver. Stoned, like, completely. And then we stopped in Vernon. I believe it was Vernon. And he's like, oh, my friends live here. We're going to sleep overnight. I'm like, okay. But we go up, and there's nobody home. And he's like, oh, they'll let me in. I'm like, are you sure? I'm not sure if he knew it was the right place. But so we slept in this person's house. He walked in the door. There's nobody there. Like, the door wasn't locked. I don't know why. That's like, because it was 90 something.
Yeah. Toronto and Vancouver. And doors were unlocked.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I didn't sleep, obviously, because I'm like worried that somebody's going to come in and shoot us or something. So anyway, we went from there to Kelowna. This is actually where I met Dustin, because Dustin was at Bob's.
Oh yeah, Bob Gravers.
Yeah, Bob's. So we stopped in at Bob's, and Dustin and I started exactly the same time apprenticing. So, and Bob and Vic were friends, or yeah, they knew each other. So Dustin and I talked, and we were all like, oh, the young green kids. We're like, oh, this is super exciting. You're going to Vancouver? So we get to Vancouver. I have no place to stay, so we're at the shop, and it was busy. It was a street shop, and I'm like doing tons of horrible tattoos on people and getting paid. I was broke. I've never been this broke. I was like,
sorry, what year was this?
93.
Okay.
93.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Because that's when Trent left.
Yeah, so 93. And so anyway, I had no money. I was broke. Like Vic didn't pay me. It's like he'd throw me $20 on a Saturday or whatever like that. And so my credit card was maxed out. I was 1 month away from being on the street. And I was like, okay, so I get into this street shop and I'm like, I had nowhere to go. So I slept on the greasy couch in front of the window or whatever, and for 10 days washing in the sink. And I'd never been to Vancouver, and it was like, what a wake up call, little young kid, from small Calgary, and
on Granville Street.
On Granville Street.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about life, and I made enough money, driving back. Vic let me drive. He was sick, so I didn't almost have a heart attack. Got all the way home. First thing I bought myself, I treated myself. Well, first I paid my credit card, and then I bought myself a VCR.
Whoa!
And I was like,
and the collection started.
And I remember feeling like that's the last time I really felt broke. But I was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a good feeling. I remember that feeling from tattooing also, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been super grateful my whole life because of tattooing, because I have been seriously probably 2 weeks away from being kicked out on the streets.
Yeah. You remember the McDonald's on Granville? It was almost right on the corner there. You might not, but it's still there. So that place, I lived on the streets when I was a kid. So in the late 80s, I was on the streets. That McDonald's was there, and it was the hangout where a lot of people are.
Yeah.
Still there today.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's a shoe store.
No, it's still there. No, because when I took Julia, I took my girlfriend. I didn't know she had never been to Vancouver. She'd been to the island because that's where her family is.
Yeah.
But she's only so 8 a.m. on a fucking Tuesday, I think it was. We go and I'm like, oh, McDonald's in Granville's open. We'll grab coffees. We go in. There's a dude taking a shit on the floor. Welcome to Vancouver.
I remember
Granville has not changed.
There was this guy's named Scotty. He was like a little street kid that kept coming to the shop, and I don't know if they pay him to clean, but anyway, so I hadn't showered, and he's like, yeah, come over here. This is where I'm staying. He's like, I remember it was 2 blocks up the street or something, and it was this hotel.
Oh, probably the Regent or
what's the one that burnt down?
I don't know, but it was either in the Regent where I lived as a street kid sometimes, and then if it was on the same side as Anarchy, it might have been where the Astoria the Astoria Granville Hotel, maybe.
Yeah, I don't remember the name.
I don't remember the signs.
But I remember
the signs back then in '93. Sure.
Yeah, if I remember, it had one of those big old school kind of vertical.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But I walked in, and I was like, hell no. There's needles everywhere, and I was just like,
Regent. No joke.
And I was like, okay, well, I'll stay dirty.
Yeah.
I'll be cleaner dirty than I would.
Yeah, I stayed at the Regent when I was a street kid. A guy I knew, he had a room, right? You just save up and you get a room for a day or two or whatever. And he's like, but you can't have guests in this fucking hotel, right? Back then, you can't have guests that stay.
Right.
So he's like, go up the fucking fire escape. Okay, go up the fire escape. Take off I've been wearing the same fucking Doc Martens for 5 days in a row, sleeping in them. And I'm like, I need to take these off. Take them off. Then I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. He's like, it's in the hallway because it's all common bathrooms on every floor. And I go to leave and he's like, oh no, put your boots back on and be very careful where you step.
Oh, that's exactly what I remember.
Yeah,
so, it was
I go in the
bathroom.
common bathroom. I go open it and there's fucking needles everywhere.
That's exactly my memory.
I pissed from the doorway. And I didn't even I didn't aim at anything. I just pissed from the doorway into the bathroom.
I have a similar
that was a Regent.
Pissing but it was in Philadelphia with Paul. We were in this little bar called, it's like Ed's Bar or something, right across from the Philly cheesesteak place, Gino's. And they had a urinal, but it was stuck in a closet. So it's noon, and there's filled with drunk people passed out, or getting like soon to be passed out. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, too big. I was too wide to stand. So I had to stand in the closet. I had to stand in the hallway and piss
into the closet.
Into the closet. They were all too drunk anyway. It didn't matter.
We should
Amazing.
We should not let this run too long because we're
No.
gonna save this shit for
Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna email you.
Sure.
Just because I want to keep everything in emails so that for scheduling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I want to get you in the books right away.
Yeah.
Sure, sounds good.
Totally.
I'm down.
The True North Strong Tattoo Book. This is a massive tattoo encyclopedia of Canadian tattooers. 350 pages. It's an 11 by 17 coffee table format. Shawn and Dan worked tirelessly to get this thing out, and sadly it never made it to print, so it's available for free download at theholdfastsocialclub.com and championtattoo.ca.